Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Our new home, don't get too attached. This is an alternate to the previous channel that was suspended, cancelled, what have you. Everyone, welcome to the channel. Just a second. Our new home.
There's some echo.
Yeah, sorry. So the date is the 9th of February 2026. We are doing our weekly Tawheed Halaqah. This is our 68th session. We are on volume 4 of Kitab Al-Tawheed, page 43, chapter 5. The subject is rendering judgment, which we'll read out, and then the professor will explain at certain junctures. Okay. So, first, Allah the Exalted says, "Do you not see those who claim to believe in what has been sent down to you and in what was sent down before you, yet still want to turn to the Taghut, unjust tyrants, for judgment, although they have been ordered to reject them? Shaitan would lead them far astray." And that's from Quran 460. Continuing on. Just a second. Continuing on to the text. In terms of the tafsir of this verse, Imam al-Tabari records the following in his seminal work, Al-Jami' al-Bayan fi Ta'wil al-Quran. Muhammad ibn al-Muthanna narrated to me, he said Abdul Wahhab narrated to us, he said Dawood narrated to us from Amir in relation to this verse, "Have you not seen those who assert that they believe in what has been revealed to you and what was revealed before you? They desire to summon one another to the judgment of the Taghut." He said, "A dispute arose between a man from among the Jews and a man from among the Munafiqeen, the hypocrites. The Munafiq was calling for judgment by the Jews because he knew they accepted rishwa, bribery, while the Jew was calling for judgment by the Muslims because he knew they didn't. So they agreed to take settlement of their dispute to a soothsayer from the tribe of Juhayna. Thus Allah revealed this verse concerning them. Do you not see those who believe to believe in what has been sent down to you until the verse accepting them totally?" And that's Surah 465. Ibn al-Muthanna narrated to us, he said, Abdul A'la narrated to us, he said, Dawood narrated to us from Amir in relation to this verse, "Have you not seen those who assert that they believe in what has been revealed to you?" Thereafter he mentioned the details of that. He added that Allah revealed, "Do you not see those who claim to believe regarding the Munafiqeen and in what has been sent down before you concerning the Jews, to summon one another to the judgment of the Taghut?" He says to the soothsayer, although they have been ordered to disbelieve in it, each being commanded in their respective books to disbelieve in the soothsayer. Yaqub ibn Ibrahim narrated to me, he said, Ibn Ulayya narrated to us from Dawood from Ashabi, he said, there was a dispute between a man who claimed to be a Muslim and a man from among the Jews. The Jew said, "Let me take you to the people of your deen." Or he said, to the Prophet, because he knew that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ did not accept bribery in leveling judgment. Given the dispute, they agreed to approach a soothsayer from the tribe of Juhayna. Thereafter he said, then the verse was revealed, "Have you not seen those who assert that they believe in what was revealed to you," referring to the man from the Ansar, "and in what was sent down before you? Regarding the Jew, they desire to summon one another to the judgment of the Taghut," meaning the soothsayer, although they had been ordered to disbelieve in it. Namely, this was commanded in each revealed book. Then he recited the verse, "By your Lord, they will not be true believers until they let you decide between them in all matters of dispute, and find no resistance in their souls to your decision, accepting them totally." That's also 465. Moreover, Al-Qurtubi said, reported by Yazid ibn Zurayh from Dawood ibn Abi Hind from Ashabi, he said, a dispute occurred between a man from the Munafiqeen and a man from among the Jews. The Jew called the Munafiq to judgment by the Prophet ﷺ because he knew that he didn't accept bribery in ruling. The Munafiq called the Jew to their judges, knowing that they accepted bribery in judicial ruling. When they agreed to refer the dispute to a soothsayer from the tribe of Juhayna, Allah the Almighty revealed the verse, "Do you not see those who claim to believe in what has been sent down to you," referring to the Munafiq, "and in what was sent down before you," referring to the Jews, "yet you still want to turn to Taghut for judgment? until where he says accepting them totally, from 465. Ad-Dahak said the Jew had called the Munafiq to judgment by the Prophet ﷺ, and the Munafiq called him to Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, who was a Taghut. This is your comment. In the light of the above, I would argue that all of these isnads are strong and excellent throughout the reporting line, but they are murasil, plural or mursal, and as we know, definitive proof cannot be established upon reports that are mursal by themselves. Rather, they can only be utilized by way of additional support and or corroboration. Despite that being said, the mursal narratives from Ashabi are close in grading to reports which are sahih and establish evidence. There is another narrative upon this which is purportedly narrated by Al-Qalbi from Abu Saleh from Ibn Abbas, which is as follows. A dispute occurred between a man from the Munafiqeen, his name being Bishr, and a Jew. The Jew had said, "Let us go to Muhammad for ruling." But the Munafiq replied, "No, nay, let us go to the Kaaba, to Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, and he is the individual Allah named as the Taghut, namely Tughyan, one excessive in tempting others to falsehood." The Jew, though, refused to take the matter to other than the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. When the Munafiq observed that, he accompanied him to the Messenger of Allah, who ruled in favor of the Jew. Upon departing, the Munafiq said, "I don't accept this ruling. Let us go to Abu Bakr." But Abu Bakr too ruled in favor of the Jew. Still unsatisfied, the Munafiq said, "Let us go to Umar." They went to Umar, and the Jew said, "We went to the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessing be upon him, thereafter to Abu Bakr," but he wasn't satisfied. Umar said to the Munafiq, "Is that the case?" He replied, "Yes." Umar said, "Wait here for a moment, I will come back to you." He went inside, took hold of his sword, and struck the Munafiq until he died. He said, "This is how I judge against one who is satisfied with the judgment of Allah." The Jew departed, and the verse was revealed. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said to Umar, "You are a Faruq." Thereafter, Jibreel descended and said Umar was distinguished between truth and falsehood, so he is called Al-Faruq. All the verses were revealed regarding that up until where he says accepting them totally. That's 465. Okay, so this is your commentary.
Mhm.
Although favored by some in the contemporary era for sensationalism, in actuality, this is a fabrication, and it should be denounced as such. If it were true, having actually occurred, it would have been widely relayed, narrated by the trustworthy authorities, transmitted from one generation to the next. Regarding the channel reporting, Al-Qalbi from Abu Salih from Ibn Abbas, it is from the weakest of all isnads in this temporary world. It is either a lie or tadlis, misrepresentation in reporting by itself. It has been established by way of a sahih isnad upon the authority of the Imam al-Hafiz al-Hujjah Sufyan al-Thawri, who by Allah is a thiqa al-ma'mun al-qudra, the exemplary, resolutely trustworthy one, that Al-Qalbi had said to him, "Abu Salih said to me, everything that I narrated to you upon the authority of Ibn Abbas is a lie." To him, Abu Salih said to me, "Everything that I narrated to you upon the authority of Ibn Abbas is a lie, so do not narrate it." Concluding this matter, Ibn Kathir provided the following comment explaining this noble verse. Allah chastises those who claim to believe in Allah, in what Allah has sent down to His Messenger, peace and blessing be upon him, and to earlier prophets. Yet they refer to other than Allah, than the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of His Messenger, peace and blessing be upon him, for judgment in various disputes. It was reported that the reason behind revealing this verse was that a man from the Ansar and a Jew had a dispute, and the Jew had said, "Let's go to Muhammad to judge between us." However, the man replied, let us refer to Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf to determine the matter between us." It was also reported that the verse was revealed to refer to the judgment of Jahiliyyah. It was revealed about some hypocrites who pretended to be Muslims, yet they thought to refer to the judgment of Jahiliyyah. Other reasons were also reported behind the revelation of this verse. However, the verse has a general meaning, as it chastises all those who refrain from referring to the Quran and Sunnah for judgment, and prefer the judgment of whatever they choose of falsehood, which befits the description of Taghut in this context.
Mhm.
This is why he said, "Yet still want to turn to the Taghut for judgment." Okay, so this is the discussion around the issue of judgment. Now,
Yep.
is this the only point at which you make this discussion? Because I do recall other stuff that you've mentioned in other books.
No, that's enough for this level. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, no, because I remember there's was it in Hakimiyya, you go through a number of isnads.
That's right. That's a special book by itself, completely. Yeah.
Yeah, because this issue of the fabricated narration, I mean, does that of that lesson, because I think isn't that what you mentioned about another cause asbab for the ayah whereby Rasulullah
And that's all could be numerous. That's not a problem. But the story, as stated, is obviously someone concerning Al-Kalbi telling Sufyan Thawri that Abu Salih told me anything I reported to you an Ibn Abbas, an, using the word an, is not from him. The problem with Abu Salih, it's not lying, nor Al-Kalbi is lying. Initially, I thought that's the case. But Abu Salih does tadlis from Ibn Abbas. They say an Ibn Abbas, and between them an intermediary. And he omits the intermediary. I think the intermediary, because Abu Salih is reasonable, is not really a fabricator to that extent. But between them, someone who take liberty in fabrication, and he wanted to make some virtues for Umar. You see, the story is funny. No way that they went to the Prophet and he judged between them, and then the hypocrite will tell the Jew, no, I don't accept it. Let's go to Abu Bakr, and Abu Bakr repeat the same ruling like an idiot. No, that's impossible. And then they go to Umar, and Umar kill him. And no, it's not becoming a major story and narration. So the narration with Al-Kalbi and Abu Salih and Ibn Abbas, if Abu Salih does not say clearly, I heard Ibn Abbas or was in his audience or I was with him, this story and so on, showing that he heard it directly, then there's a danger that there's an intermediary between them. And this intermediary, we don't know who is he. Could be the devil, could be an angel. So that's out. So it's munqati. That's the reason for that. And the story itself is just not believable. Something like so major like that is just simply not possible. And the purpose of the one who created that is to give Umar great titles like the Farouk, the one distinguished between truth and falsehood and things like that. Which Umar is, but you don't need to fabricate that. Okay.
Oh, you're going to be covering the issue of kufr, don't kufr later on in chapter 9. So
yeah, they will come. That's good.
There's going to be plenty of nuggets coming up then, I guess.
Yeah.
Building up. Okay, so chapter 6.
Just one comment on Taghut. So the real narrations are the one at Tabari. These are the good ones. That and the meaning fits that case very, very accurately, because the Jew wants to go to Muhammad because he knows he has the right, and Muhammad does not take bribes, or the Muslims do not take. And the hypocrite knows that if he goes to the Muslims, they will expose him. So the so-called Muslim, the Munafiq. So he said, no, we go to the Jews. And then they agree on a compromise, and they want to. The translation was so sayar is not very nice. The word in Arabic is Kohen. I said like a priest of some idols, or a priest maybe from Juhayna. Some of Juhayna maybe, some may have been idol worshippers, some may be Jews and so on, but they have Kohens. And they, or the people who do divination, throw arrows and guess who is right and wrong and things like that. And that's definitely not to be accepted in any instance, neither for judgment or anything. So both the Jew and they agree that both agree in that. So the ayah is attacking both. Attacking the Munafiq who claims to be a Muslim. This one is referring to a Taghut, and the Jew who is supposed to allegedly claims to be that he ultimately agreed. He should not have agreed, because it's clearly in the Old Testament, I think in Deuteronomy 18 or something like that, it says don't go to soothsayer, Kohens, and all these things. Explicitly said. So he's supposed to be not to referring to any else except to someone whose judgment is sound according to the revelation. So both of them are wrong, and both have been criticized by the Quran. And although they have been commanded to reject Taghut, both Muslims are commanded not to go to soothsayers for whatever, not only for judgment, judicial ruling or divination, but also for they allegedly capable of finding the lost properties and things like that by contacting satanic entities and things like that. True or false is irrelevant, but that's what they claim. So they claim they can judge, they can find things which nobody else can find. And this is, they're exceeding their limit. Or the people attribute that to them, and they don't object, because a Taghut is someone who attribute to himself the right to legislation or the right of knowledge of the unseen intrinsically, and all the people attribute to him without his objection. That's the reason that Isa ibn Maryam salawatullah alayhi is not a Taghut. The Pauline Christian referred to him as as divine and so on, but not with his approval. He never said that by himself, nor he was present in this fabrication was established by Paul. So it's not approved by him. So he's not a taghut, although he's being worshipped beside Allah and referred to as judgment, but not by his doing, by doing others without his approval and against his will. And after he ascended, obviously he was not here to object. His followers have objected, but for historical complicated reasons, Paul got away and poisoned the revelation of Isa, and it turned out ultimately it ended into what we have. The Christianity we have is a Pauline Christianity. It has nothing to do anymore with Isa Christianity. It's a Paulinity, but if you say Paulinity, nobody will understand. So the best name is to say, when talking about Christianity since Nicaea, at least, is Pauline Christianity. Has nothing to do with Christ. But this is the common name, so it's best to qualify it this way. So that's just clarify some points, because when the Prophet in Mecca read ayahs that those who are the Tawheed who are worshipped or obeyed beside Allah will be cast in the hellfire, the Quraysh will jubil and say, we caught Muhammad now. What's what Isa ibn Maryam? He has been worshipped beside Allah. And the Quran rebuked them for this stupidity. Just disputing, because they know very well that Isa did not. Muhammad stresses everywhere that Isa never invited people to worship him or regard him as divine. It's other people who did that after his ascension, or after his death, whatever it is. Definitely, he's not responsible for that. So he cannot be classified as Taghut. In no way he can be classified as Taghut. Okay? As just a side note in this matter. So that's this point. Yeah, that's it. So just keep in mind what Taghut is, and the soothsayer, okay, is actually Kohen, like Kahin, like priests of false religions, priests who claim to. So the Kohen of the Jews, the rabbi, since the rabbinic Judaism took they attribute to themselves that they can't even dispute with Allah and defeat him in argument. Look at the Talmud. That is intolerable. So they are taghut, and they're happy to be regarded as what they say is revelation and binding, which is not true. So they are taghut also. The Sanhedrin member, at least after, even before the time of Isa, they were already taghut, allowing themselves to judge and regard their judgment as final and superior to Allah's judgment. Yeah. Okay. Carry on.
Okay. Chapter 6, page 48. The obligation to respond in obedience. The general obligation outlines that it is incumbent to refer matters back to Allah and His Messenger, coupled with the absolute obedience to them. Verses which outline this are indeed numerous throughout the text of the Quran. He, the Exalted and Majestic, says, "We sent to you, Muhammad, the scripture with the truth, confirming the scriptures that came before it, and with final authority over them. So judge between them according to what Allah has revealed. Do not follow their whims, which deviate from the truth that has come to you. We have assigned a law and a path to each of you." That's Surah 5, 48. This blessed final book is authoritative, since it is originating from Allah the Exalted, and it abrogates all what has come before it regarding the divine laws. Consequently, it is fitting that it has precedent and authority over any other legislation and ruling. Allah the Mighty and Sublime says, "The Jews and Christians will never be pleased with you until you follow their ways. So say, Allah's guidance is the only true guidance. If you were to follow their desires after the knowledge that has come to you, you would find no one to protect you from Allah or help you." And that's Surah Baqarah 120. That's وَلَن تَرْضَى عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَا النَّصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ قل إن هدى الله والهدى ولئن اتبعت أهواءهم بعد الذي جاءك من العلم ما لك من الله من ولي ولا نصير. And the next surah is 24:51, which is, when the true believers are summoned to Allah and His Messenger in order for Him to judge between them, they say, "We hear and obey. These are the ones who will prosper." And then the next verse, which is 4115, Nisa, If anyone opposes the messenger after guidance has been made clear to him and follows a path other than that of the believers, we shall leave him on this chosen path. We shall burn him in hell, an evil destination. And the final verse on this batch 2463: those who go against his order should beware lest a trial afflict them, or they receive a painful punishment. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah said, I am amazed by the people who know the isnad and its authenticity, yet they follow the opinion of Sufyan. While Allah the Exalted says, those who go against his order should beware lest the trial afflict them or they receive a painful punishment. And that's in reference to 2463. Do you know what fitna is? Fitna is shirk. Perhaps if one rejects some of what his words are, deviation enters into his heart and is destroyed. And the famous statement of Ibn Abbas, stones are about to rain down upon you from the heavens. I say the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, and you all retort, but Abu Bakr and Umar said. Its reporting has been mentioned, this is your commentary, by way of variant wordings as per Ahkam al-Quran by Tahawi. Moreover, Tahawi cites this in Sharh Mani al-Athar with a Sahih Isnad. Al-Rabi al-Muradi al-Muadhin narrated to us, he said, Asad narrated to us, he said, Hamad ibn Salama narrated to us from Ayub, from Ibn Abi Mulaika, that Urwa said to Ibn Abbas, O Ibn Abbas, you have misled the people. Ibn Abbas said, and what is that concerning O Urwa? Urwa replied, you issue rulings to the people that once they perform the tawaf, circumambulation of the house, they are released from the state of Ihram, while Abu Bakr and Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, would arrive in Ihram for Hajj, remaining so until the day of Nahar. So Ibn Abbas said, this is your misguidance. I narrate to you from the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, and you narrate to me from Abu Bakr and Umar. Urwa replied, Abu Bakr and Umar were more knowledgeable of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ than you. Cited in the Musnad of
So the mentality of taqlid and turning shuyukh and so on into idols, into sanam, because that Abu Bakr and Umar are more knowledgeable or listener is irrelevant, because the wording of Ibn Abbas is that the Messenger of Allah, some people ask him, when do the tawaf al-ifadah, when you come from Muzdalifah and do tawaf al-ifadah, then you have the tahallul al-asghar. You can take off your clothing and ihram. Everything is halal except intercourse. And then only after the stoning the main aqaba, or if you are obliged to sacrifice blood, this is not everyone is obliged, but certain people, like people with Hajj and Umrah joint and so on, then intercourse will be permissible. But taking off the clothes, it's the moment you do the tawaf al-ifadah, that's out, khalas. You don't need to add anything after that. You add it at liberty, you take your clothing at liberty and so on. Only intercourse is only after the full tahallul akbar. So always misunderstanding and so on. But who is Urwa really to confront Ibn Abbas in this matter? Is most likely motivated by partisanship, because Ibn Abbas is obviously one of those who fought against his father and his older brother in the Battle of Jamal. So you see how desires and heart deviations could affect someone's point of view. But this is a very, very common disease, started even at that time. Besides, definitely in many issues, like issues concerning Hajj, inheritance, Ibn Abbas is definitely superior to Umar and Abu Bakr. Definitely. Miles superior in fiqh, analysis, understanding the ayahs of Mirath. Umar never understood them properly. So this is all just taqleed, but he won't kill him. Not only taqleed, say, oh, there is a great imam, I trust their understanding. No, he will make it, they understand the messenger better than anybody else. No, that's not an argument. That's not an argument. Only you can say, okay, I do not understand these rulings by myself. I cannot drive, and I trust the judgment of Umar for this. That may make sense. But if someone narrates you something else, and this one is very reliable, like Ibn Abbas, then you have no liberty to say that. Unless you say, you are lying, I don't accept your narration. That's something else. You see, that's the way to go. Just a comment on this specific story. It's a real blunder from Urwa. Extremely bad blunder.
Continue.
Yeah.
Cited in the Musnad of Imam of Ahmed is the following too. Hajjaj narrated to us, Sharik narrated to us from Al-A'mash, from Al-Fadl ibn Amr, and I saw it from Sa'id ibn Jubair, from Ibn Abbas. He said the Prophet ﷺ performed tamattu. Urwa ibn Zubair said Abu Bakr and Umar forbade doing tamattu. Ibn Abbas replied, what does Urayya say? He said Abu Bakr and Umar forbade doing that. Ibn Abbas said, I think they are going to be doomed. I say the Prophet ﷺ said, and he says Abu Bakr and Umar said.
Yeah.
Once again, the general theme is outlined in multiple texts throughout the text of the Quran. Considering the following, whether he, the exalted and majestic, says, O you who believe, obey Allah and the Messenger, and those in authority among you. If you are in dispute over any matter, refer it to Allah and the Messenger, if you truly believe in Allah and the last day. That is better and fairer in the end. And that's from 459. Next verse, by your Lord, they will not be true believers until they let you decide between them in all matters of dispute, and find no resistance in their souls to your decisions, accepting them totally. And that's 465. We have sent down the scriptures to you, Prophet, with the truth, so that you can judge between the people in accordance with what Allah has shown you. Do not be an advocate for those who betray trust. That's 4105. Next is 36, which is when Allah and His Messenger have decided on a matter that concerns them, it is not fitting for any believer or woman to claim freedom of choice in that matter. Whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger is far astray. The next one is 49:1. O you who believe, do not push yourselves forward in the presence of Allah and His Messenger. Be mindful of Allah. He hears and knows all. The next verse is 550. Do they want judgment according to the time of Jahiliyyah, pagan ignorance? Is there any better judge than Allah for those of firm faith? Next one, 480. Whoever man yu'ti Allah, man yu'ti Rasul faqad ata Allah. Whoever obeys the messenger obeys Allah. Next one is Surah Al-Imran, 31 to 32. قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم والله غفور رحيم قل أطيعوا الله والرسول فإن تولوا فإن الله لا يحب الكافرين. Say, if you love Allah, follow me, and Allah will love you and forgive you your sins. Allah is most forgiving, most merciful. Say, O Allah, and say, obey Allah and the Messenger, but if you turn away, know that Allah does not love those who ignore His commands. Next verse.
Or rejects, actually, kafirun. They don't reject the command, not only ignore, reject.
So next verse is, so accept whatever the Messenger gives you and abstain from whatever he forbids you. Be mindful of Allah. Allah is severe in punishment. That's 59:7. Next one. Whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger will have hell's fire as his permanent home. That's 72 to verse 33. وَمَن يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَإِنَّ لَهُ نَارَ جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا. The next one is from Surah An-Nisa 13 to 14, which is, these are the bounds set by Allah. Allah will admit those who obey Him and His Messenger to gardens graced with flowing streams, and they will stay. That is a supreme triumph. But those who disobey Allah and His Messenger and overstep His limits will be consigned by Allah to the fire, and there they will stay. A humiliating torment awaits them. So that concludes this chapter. We're now on to chapter 7, which is page 54. So just to read that out. So chapter 7, page 54, the verses of ruling. The verses of ruling are set out in chapter 5, Surah Ma'idah of the Quran, where the Exalted says, so these are all in translation, Messenger, do not be grieved by those. It's actually quite a few verses to read out. This is going from linear 41 to 50. Messenger, do not be grieved by those who race to surpass one another in disbelief, those who say with their mouths, we believe, but have no faith in their hearts, and the Jews who listen eagerly to lies, and to those who have not ever even met you, who distort the meanings of revealed words and say to each other, if you are given this ruling, accept it, but if you are not, then beware. If Allah intends some people to be so misguided, you will be powerless against them, against Allah on their behalf. These are the ones whose hearts Allah does not intend to cleanse. A disgrace for them in this world, and then a heavy punishment in the hereafter. 42. They listen eagerly to lies and consume what is unlawful. If they come to you, Prophet, for judgment, then you can either judge between them or decline. If you decline, they will not harm you in any way. But if you do judge between them, judge justly. Allah loves the just. 43. But why do they come to you for judgment when they have the Torah with Allah's judgment, and even then still turn away? These are not believers. 44. We revealed the Torah with guidance and light, and the prophets who had submitted to Allah judged according to it for the Jews. So did the rabbis and the scholars in accordance with that part of Allah's scripture which they were entrusted to preserve, and to which they were witnesses. But rabbis and scholars do not fear people, fear me. Do not barter away my messages for a small price. Those who do not judge according to what Allah has revealed are the disbelievers. And then the famous stuff, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. And then there's 45, continuing. In the Torah, we prescribe for them a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a nose for a nose, an ear for an ear, a tooth for a tooth, an equal wound for a wound. If anyone forgoes this out of charity, it will serve as atonement for his bad deeds. Those who do not judge according to what Allah has revealed are the oppressors. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. 46. We sent
Or the unjust one. Zalim is the unjust ones.
We sent Jesus, son of Mary, in their footsteps to confirm the Torah that had been sent before him. We gave him the gospel with guidance, light, and confirmation of the Torah already revealed, a guide and lesson for those who take heed of Allah. 47. So let the followers of the gospel judge according to what Allah has sent down in it. Those who do not judge according to what Allah has revealed are the evildoers. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. 48. We sent
Fasiq is manifestly rebellious or something like that. Yeah, it's very difficult to translate something. Best of translate zalim as unjust, and fasiq rebellious, manifestly rebellious. And all of these actually in this context are the same like kafir, like infidel or rejectionist of faith. But he gave the three nasty titles for them. Kafirun, that's clear what does mean, the one who rejected faith. Zalimun, the unjust one, committed a major injustice against themselves, against others. And the fasiqun, the manifestly rebellious against Allah's opposite to the command that should be enslaved instead to Allah, they become rebellious. Yeah. Carry on.
The 48. We sent to you, Muhammad, the scripture with the truth, confirming the scriptures that came before it, and with final authority over them.
Yeah.
So judge between them according to what Allah has sent down. Do not follow their whims, which deviate from the truth that has come to you.
Mm.
We have assigned a law and a path to each of you. If Allah had so willed, He would have made you one community, but He wanted to test you through that which He has given you. So race to do good. You will all return to Allah, and He will make clear to you the matters you differed about. 49. So Prophet, judge between them according to what Allah has sent down. Do not follow their whims, and take good care that they do not tempt you away from any of what Allah has sent down to you. If they turn away, remember that Allah intends to punish them for some of the sins they have committed. A great many people are lawbreakers. 50. Do they want judgment according to the time of pagan ignorance? Is there any better judge than Allah for those of firm faith? So these are the famous Ayat al-Hukm, the verses of ruling judgment that taken from chapter 5, Surah Ma'idah. There are several hadith which have been reported concerning the Asbab al-Nuzul, or circumstances behind revelation, together with varying interpretations about the meaning, particularly that of the wording of as per verse 34, Al-Kafirun. In our previous book, Hakimiyya wa Siyadat al-Sharh, we undertook a detailed A detailed discussion on this matter, in particular, the reader may refer to the chapter covering the matter of takfir and how it interacts with those who don't rule by what Allah has revealed. Determining the precise meaning of the word hukm, as expressed in the verses, cannot be limited only to relate to legislation. In other words, the fundamental matter of determining the nature of legislating its essence and requirements, which ultimately belong in any event to Allah the Exalted. The scope is in fact wider than that. Within this context, it has to be understood within the parameters of the four key meanings of the word hukm that have already
Which we
thus
have discussed
enumerated.
before, yeah.
In particularly, these are firstly the matter of legal edict or fatwa. This relates to expressing an opinion that the one issuing it believes to be correct, without enforcing it, meaning a judgment as it relates to the matters of the deen. Issuance of the fatwa is only permissible according to what Allah has revealed, and whoever does otherwise has disbelieved in Allah. Second comes the matter of legal judgment.
Court judgments, yeah.
Within a judicial context.
Mhm.
Here, this relates to the resolution of disputes and matters arising, adjudicating upon conflicts, with the issuance of a decree that takes binding effect. From the vantage point of the modern state, that is considered to be one of the central powers, together with legislative and executive function. The judge can also be called hakim, pronouncing judgment upon matters before him. It is not lawful to apply and implement judgment within this field except by what Allah has revealed. Thirdly comes the management and administration within the executive function of ruling, or in the parlance of the modern state, what is often termed executive function or power. Use of the word government is also commonplace as it relates to the highest executive features or governing bodies, but there is also cabinet, council of ministers, etc. Previous terms from the Islamic epoch also still appear, such as the term hakim, sultan, or even wali al-amr. Within this broad context, it is only lawful to judge, rule by what Allah has revealed without equivocation or derogation. Lastly, there is the management of public affairs by way of adoption of rulings. In terms of the scope, this would cover matters related to constitutions, laws, regulations, and the role in which legislative matters are adopted for the society state. Here, this can't be limited only to legislation per se. In other words, formulating laws from inception. Its scope is wider. It relates to the process of ijtihad, adoption, the formulation of regulation at various levels, their public proclamation, and similar actions. Such matters must only be done according to what Allah has revealed. Those who do not do so have disbelieved in Allah. Some have erroneously assumed that the word hukm, as mentioned in the verses of the Quran, is limited to that within a judicial setting. That is incorrect unless there is specific evidence to substantiate it. Rather, the meaning covers all of these meanings in their absolute sense. However, to the best of my knowledge, there is no further limitations to the scope as expressed in the verses. Coupled with the evidences established, there are some additional narrative channels which are worthy of consideration in the context of the present discussion. To begin with, we have the famous comments by the companion Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. May Allah be pleased with him. Muhammad narrated to me, Uthman ibn Amr narrated to us, Fitr ibn Khalifa narrated to us from Mansur, from Salim ibn Abi al-Jad, from Masruq. He said, I was sitting with Abdullah ibn Masud when a man asked, what is suhd? He replied, bribery. The man then asked, and in matters of al-hukm? Abdullah said, that is kufr. Then he recited the verse, those who do not judge according to what Allah revealed, they are the disbelievers. Commenting on this, Sheikh Hussein Asad said, its isnad is sahih. Indeed, he was correct in that judgment, as the report from Ibn Masud is undoubtedly established as sahih, especially when taken with the corroborating reports, multiple channels of reporting and corroborative evidences. In Mujam al-Kabir, at-Tabarani has the following with an isnad that is Hasan. Ali ibn Abdul Aziz narrated to us, Abu Nu'aym narrated to us, Sharik narrated to us, from As-Suddi, from Abu Duha, from Masruq, from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, that he was asked about as-suht, to which he said bribery, and asked about the matter in Al-Hukm, he said, that is kufr. It is further reported in the Tafsir of At-Tabari. Yaqub ibn Ibrahim narrated to me, he said, Hushaym narrated to us, he said, Abdul Malik ibn Abu Sulaiman reported to us from Salama ibn Khuhayl from Alqama and Masruq that the two of them asked Ibn Masud about the matter of Rashwa, bribery. He said, it is from as-suht, ill-gotten gains. They further asked this in relation to the hukm. He said, that is kufr. Then he recited the verse, those who do not judge according to what Allah has revealed, they are the disbelievers. That's 544. Moreover, the statement and action of Masruq are set out in the Tabaqat al-Kubra of Ibn Sa'ad with an isnad that is sahih. That Masruq interceded on behalf of a man who offered him a slave girl as a gift. Angered by this, Masruq said, if I had known this was in your heart, I wouldn't have spoken on your behalf, nor will I do so again. Thereafter he said, I heard Abdullah ibn Mas'ud say, whoever intercedes to restore a right to prevent an injustice and is then offered a gift and accepts it, that is a suht. They said, we used to think a suht only applied to taking bribes in judgment. Ibn Mas'ud said, taking that in relation to the hukm is kufr. Similarly, something similar has been reported in the work of entitled by Dua by At-Tabrani, but reported on the authority of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. Abu Yazid narrated to us, Asad ibn Musa narrated to us, Yazid ibn A'ta narrated to us from Abban, from Sa'id ibn Jubair, from Masruq, that he asked Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, he said, O Amir al-Mu'mineen, is bribery in the hukm considered al-suht, ill-gotten gains? He thus replied, woe to you, that is kufr. He replied, I said, O Amir al-Mu'mineen, what is suht? A-suht. He Umar replied, when you seek to fulfill a man's needs with those in authority and then take his wealth as a reward for it. Chapter 8 now. Categorizing the terms fisk, kufr, fisk, and dhulm, and that's page 60. How do we interpret the terms as raised by the noble verses, that be that kufr, fisk, or dhulm? Be that kufr, fisk, or dhulm. Specifically, to whom do the terms apply, and when can it be reasonably argued that those individuals are deserving or within scope of those labels? Before moving on to other topics, emphasis needs to be made with regards to the verses of ruling and the descriptive titles mentioned, be they some or all of them. Notwithstanding any scholarly differences, happens by the abandonment of by what Allah has revealed, even if one doesn't. Sorry, so I'll repeat that. Before moving on to other topics, emphasis needs to be made with regards to the verses of ruling and the descriptive titles mentioned, be they some or all of them. Notwithstanding any scholarly differences, happens by the abandonment of ruling by what Allah has revealed, even if one doesn't rule by something other than that. Seems a bit convoluted in the translation. Worth making a note. Okay. As set out in the previous chapter, Allah the Exalted emphatically stated, those who do not judge by what Allah, do not judge according to what Allah has revealed, which is 41 to 50, that's block. It can't be said that abandoning ruling by what Allah has revealed necessarily means that the ruler judges by other than what Allah has revealed. By way of example, considering the case of a judge who after thoroughly examining a case and being obligated to issue a ruling, becomes certain that Allah's judgment in that specific dispute is a particular ruling. However, he does not issue that correct verdict at the allocated time, either to enable the party at fault to seek redress in terms of wealth redistribution. Should he flee without properly recursing himself from the case after recognizing the truth and being obligated to issue a ruling, simply to avoid pronouncing a verdict that contradicts his own whims and desires? Here the example of this theoretical judge, by merely refusing to issue the ruling after it became obligatory and incumbent upon him, has committed the crime of abandoning judgment by what Allah has revealed. Thus he did not judge according to what Allah has revealed within that specific instance or case, and has become worthy of the descriptive label of kufr, fisk, or dhulm, be that some or all of them, according to differing scholarly views, even though what he has done is evade issue or pronouncing a verdict and didn't rule by way of anything at all.
Mhm.
So it's basically like a sin, metaphorically, it's a sin by omission.
Yeah, he he is obliged to issue a ruling because he's a sitting judge, and but matter have become clear that the ruling will be not according to his desire or the desire of one of the client to whom he is inclined secretly. Because if there's any inclination, he should recuse himself before starting the process, telling the people, I cannot look in that case because I'm related to this one, or I cannot be neutral. Then he has to recuse himself. That's okay. If you go to another judge. But here he proceeded, etc. When the final ruling was clear that his friend or relative or son is going to lose, then he pretend, I am recusing myself, just to run away from pronouncing the ruling. He doesn't need to do anything, just recusing himself is enough to be committing an act of kufr, zulm, and fisq.
Perhaps worse than this example would be the case of a judge who, after thorough deliberation, arrives at what the ruling of Allah is in a given matter of dispute.
We just discussed that. You're reading a thing back.
Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is a continuing on. But he manipulates the evidence before him, concealing some of it, inappropriately disregarding other aspects of evidence, casting doubt by way of invalid objections on portions of the case, and even distorts the factual matrix, so that the ruling he is to give aligns more with his own persuasion or even desires. While this may be exceedingly rare as an example for judges in a judicial system, it is far more common among those who occupy positions of political power. Fabrication of charges, evidence, including false witnesses, testimony, is often utilized as part of the elaborate scheme against political opponents, either seeking to crush them under the weight of judicial proceedings, or should the matter fall short of court, to disregard them totally. It may well be the case that the aforementioned example, even others like it, is what sprang to mind for those who said kufr duna kufr, or sought to act to refrain somewhat from leveling the charge of kufr itself to the very act, instead utilizing the other terms like fisq or dhulm. This could be because it bears a resemblance to the other areas of sinfulness, which may be committed by a Muslim out of desire, and not on a par with istihlal, turning the matter of a prohibition into something lawful, or even denying the obligation itself, let alone the matter of mockery, hatred, disdain, or aversion to Allah, the Exalted, His messengers, or His signs. Despite this, it can reasonably be argued that it bears, in fact, a stronger similarity to one who refrains from uttering the declaration of faith, the Kalimat Al-Tawheed, despite not being under direct coercion and having the ability to do so. The matter of kufr for such an individual is not something a Muslim would doubt, and it is a matter upon which there is scholarly consensus. Even if a kafir acknowledges the prophethood of Muhammad ﷺ, stating with his tongue, he doesn't fully enter into Islam unless the additional requirements of the declaration of the testimonies of faith are made, and he commits to the rulings as stipulated by Islam. Much the same was noted by Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar in Fath al-Bari. There he argued similarly after giving the explanation of the hadith about the refusal of the leaders of Najran to partake in the mubahala with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Their words implied acknowledging the prophethood which was bestowed upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Despite this, they didn't enter into the fold of Islam, nor did they submit to its rulings, and remained within the fold of kufr. Similar can be said of the Jewish rabbis at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, who readily acknowledged he bore all the signs of prophethood, but adamantly refused to accept and follow him, peace and blessings be upon him. Such people were held back by the pull of worldly desire, be that the love of positions of leadership, fear of being excommunicated by their compatriots, or other such motives. None of this was accepted as being a valid excuse, nor did absolve them from remaining within the darkness of kufr. Except in matters of extreme duress, there is really no valid excuse. This ruling is not limited to Shahadat al-Tawheed, the testimonial of monotheism alone, but it would also extend to every true statement that is inherently linked to the testimony, thereby becoming one of its necessary implications. So I know you've previously given the example of those two Jewish men who came to the Prophet ﷺ and testified to faith. So it's not. So basically, it's the whole discussion about the mere profession of belief, raja. Essentially, the whole discussion about raja. And the other prominent example.
For example, the judge we just discussed, who recused him later to avoid the ruling. If he's a real Muslim, if he's a Muslim believing that in Allah they have judgment, then he cannot now recuse himself. He should have recused himself earlier. Should have. Now it's too late to do that. But there's no duress in him. We say that someone with the sword say you should not pronounce it. He shows this way. So like someone who claim, oh, I know Islam is true, but I'm not pronouncing the Shahada. It's the same thing. So it is a matter of creed, really. It's an expression of creed. So when the judge make a ruling, he expresses that he's convinced this is the ruling of Allah and Messenger in this case. If he abstains from that, knowing it is what he is convinced of, then he is abstaining from the Shahada, essentially. So it cannot be like a sin who is following this desire. Not like someone who commits zina, knowing that he's committing haram. That's different. Because there's a shahwa and there's desire and there's the various failing of human nature. But here, it's a matter of creed. It's a pronunciation. Let's finish. Game over. Matter just an utterance, which is
Salam alaikum, Professor. So even some Sahaba, if I call like Ibn Abbas, if I remember correctly, they made it even tighter in terms of during duress. Like suppose that this judge is during duress, Ibn Abbas, he said only in utterances. He cannot like rule by against what Allah revealed in terms of actions. Like if
no. The case of duress is someone like under torture and so on. That's something different. But they say that's the only reason you not pronounce the Kalimat al-Tawheed, for example, or insult Allah and His Messenger, and you are not a kafir, is that you're doing that under duress. That's it.
And Ibn Abbas or some Sahaba, he said, because you're only doing it verbally, but if it involves like sacrificing a cow to someone against Allah, or tamkeen, making tamkeen of kafir against the Muslim, he said...
That's definitely, that's not an issue. No, I mean, yeah, just purely the matter of pronunciation.
Yes, pronunciation.
Yeah.
If it goes into actions, that's off limit already.
Yeah. That's what come in mu'ala and so on. That's where it goes into action. But here, this is no action. This is just pronunciation.
Pronunciation.
It's pronouncing. That's it. So we're not talking about an action. So there's no escape route that it is like someone who's committing zina because of the desire of overcoming it. So that's not the same. That's not the same.
There's no shahwa there in ruling.
If you look at it carefully, it is just a pronunciation of declaration of what you believe with the faith. It is. There's no excuse of these things.
Yeah.
The same with allying with the kuffar. They usually have the case. We have to ally because we are afraid that we lose a battle and we'll get eliminated and destroyed.
Yeah.
That's not an excuse.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's not an excuse.
Yes.
Okay.
So the legitimate solution, you are saying that the judge must excuse himself, like he says I'm not going
before, not after he sees that things going again. If he have any inclination or something like that, then he just goes, I have this and this, I have a relation to this man, or we share a company, and he discloses to the parties. If the parties accept that he will proceed, then they proceed, but then is obliged to really commit to this declaration. If they say no, then he has to recuse himself. The best for the judge that is to recuse himself anyway. I can't judge in this matter from the beginning because I have a relation. I cannot be completely in control. There's another judge next door in the same court or next area, and usually governments and system define if a judge recuses himself, who is the next in the queue, things like that. It goes to another one who has relation. But this is just giving an extremely rare example.
Yes. Okay.
There is no specify that someone could avoid ruling altogether and still he become a kafir in that situation. It doesn't need to be ruled with something else. It doesn't need to do positive. It can be just negative. Negative ruling. They are not ruling. Just can't rule. I recuse myself.
So you are saying in certain situations he must rule. He cannot be negative.
If he's sitting with the case and he started the case and it gets there and he knows now the result is going to come, and then he he get any excuse and so on, and then refer the matter to another judge. That's definitely definitely also an act of kufr.
Yeah. He cannot be neutral on it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
But this is fine points that can be
Yes,
discussed in details, but I'm just giving general principles now.
Yes. Okay.
I know previously, Doctor, a lot of things that started this process when you were pondering about the status of Shaitan, because his rejection was nothing, doesn't fall within the category of tasdeeq, which is common amongst most Ash'ari type of points of view. Is that accurate? What you used to mention about, because Shaitan, his action wasn't a rejection in belief; it was a rejection of.
No, but this is the fisq akbar. This is the kufr, rejecting Allah's command. Essentially, say, I'm not going to obey, because the Asi, the one who I am going to obey, but he fails to obey practically because of certain external desire or external or wrong thoughts or ta'wil happening at that moment, misunderstanding. But if there was no misunderstanding, that's the reason the question came to him: why didn't you do sujood as I commanded you? Say, I'm better than him, and he got the red card right away. You don't argue with Allah that I'm better or not better. You may be better than him, but still my command is valid. You have to accept the command in principle. That you may not excuse it. You could say, oh, my back was hurting. That may be an excuse, but not, I'm better than him. That's not an excuse. Or I couldn't, I have a step back or something like that. That may be an excuse, but not the other one. Because the other, what does that mean, other one? That's your command is not wise. Does not make any sense. But this would undermine reason. We discussed that long ago when we were discussing the divine attributes and so on. Yeah, you remember? Chapter 4. Any attempt to answer Allah that your command is unwise or unjust, undermine reason right away. Because there's no reference frame above him. He's the ultimate reference frame. So to whom you are referring, that's good or bad or just and not just. His command is ultimate, final. His command makes things good, define justice. That's it, simple. So the matter is connected really with deep issues of aqidah, the hukum. And the same for someone committing zina out of desire, and they will say, I don't see any problem in zina, even if he doesn't commit zina. I'm devoted to my wife. I'm not going to cheat on her. He's a kafir with this right away. It's not a matter of you cheating or not cheating. Allah has prohibited zina, period, full stop. That's it. Or more precisely, prohibited intercourse out of wedlock or a legitimate ownership of concubine. That's it. Anything outside is prohibited. You have to accept that. You may fail to comply with it, but you have to accept it. Otherwise, you're not a Muslim. You're a kafir. That's very clear. Or so someone, for example, do some haram and tell him, don't you know that's haram? Say, making a mockery or make sound with the mouth. You don't care about haram. He's become with this action, immediately a kafir. Yeah. So it's distinguished between failing to comply the command because of certain desire, because something like that, that's ma'asiyah. And this is the Quran is very clear. I wonder how these people who are discussing that at length, when they say about fasiq is not necessarily kafir and so on. No. Generally, fasiq is a kafir, rebellious. And you see, when the story of Adam and Iblis is very clear. Adam was never classified as kafir, as fasiq. Asa, he disobeyed his Lord. And this is when immediately asked for forgiveness, immediately. Because he knew he was wrong. But Iblis, no, bless you, no. أنا خير منه. Your command is not wise. Rejecting the command. And the Quran says, ففسق عن أمر ربه, rebelled against his Lord's command. أبى واستكبر وكان من الكافرين.
So in case of Iblis, it's his ma'siyah is actually men's riya. So it goes
No,
up.
the Quran does not call it معصية. هو الفسق عن أمر ربه.
I mean, yeah, physical ma'siyah. He intended to disobey Allah.
No,
Not
it doesn't have that intended. The answer shows that clearly he is rebellious.
Okay.
أنا خير منه. What does it mean if I tell you, why didn't you do that? I know better. That's the meaning of it.
Yeah, but let's suppose that there's a Muslim. He knows that this thing is a type of ma'siyah, but he intended to do it despite what Allah said that don't do it. So in other ways, he's de jure striking the word of Allah against the wall and committing this sin. So he's the type of
In that
Iblis.
sense, like Iblis will be also will be not asid and will be fasiq, will be kafir.
Yes, so is
we
the
don't
type
know
of
that.
Iblis.
But we know, no, but when we talk about a Muslim who make a disobedience for us externally, we talk about him. When Allah talks about Iblis and Adam, Allah knows their internals. So he gives the pure case, prototype. But for people, it's clearly that, like for example, someone misses the salah just out of laziness and so on. It's cold and things like that. That's different than someone miss the salah, intend not to pray forever. He become a kafir by this one in missing because of that intention.
Yes.
You say then he has left as-salah. He has to come to Islam back after that. Yeah.
Subhanallah, I was having some argument with the Arabic Shabab in this particular point. Most of them they disagreed with me that they said no, intention is not a factor in determining if he is a fasiq or just a asi like Adam. You know, because they said that if we were to go with intention, you would label everyone kafir. Because you have to go, you have to dig deep in his heart to know his intention.
Yeah, that's what I mean with intention. Be fully conscious about the prohibition and intended to break it. That's something else. But that's not what happened for someone committing zina. Usually say, I cannot overcome my desire. I will repent. I know that I am wrong. I will repent. I am too young now to be so strict.
Okay, in this case, what is it? Ma'siyah or fisq?
It's ma'siyah. It's ma'siyah, yeah.
Okay.
So don't go into these fine points. Everyone knows about himself.
Yeah. Sometimes it's mixed with different feelings. Okay.
But studying that is futile. We are not talking about because if you talk about dunya judgment, your judgment is irrelevant. Talk about akhirah judgment, and the Quran talks about usually the pure case. The pure case.
I see.
How the reality is by various people. Allah knows how to scale it and evaluate. Yeah.
Okay.
Like for example, the case is allying with the kuffar or not fighting with them or fighting under their banner because you are afraid that you will lose your throne or use other. Allah says clearly, Allah did not say that they are lying. They are telling the truth, but that does not help them getting out of kufr and the guilt of muwalat al-kuffar, for example, because there's not enough to be an excuse. The mere fear. And there is the ayah that I conclude فعسى الله يأتي بالفتح أو أمر من عندي فاصبروا على ما أصروا في أنفسهم نادمين. Maybe wait until Allah bring victory. You will see victory will come even if you refuse to ally with the kuffar. This is your shaitan is deceiving you that you have to ally, otherwise you lose. No. And when the fatih comes, and then for Yawm al-Qiyamah, the ayah next to say what happened in Yawm al-Qiyamah.
Or in a similar situation but slightly different, أيبتغون عندهم العزة. You seek strength and support and
tamkeen
and stabilization.
But they definitely want to العزة. They want. Definitely they want.
Yeah.
But this is not enough to take you out because this is the prohibition. There is absolute.
Absolutely.
If you ally with them, you are one of them. Lost.
Yes. Yes, clear.
Okay,
Yes, excellent.
Next paragraph. Fundamentally, there isn't a difference between a person declaring there is no God except Allah and the statement, Mary, the daughter of Imran, was absolved by Allah of any notion of immorality. She was favored above the women of this world, or indeed declaring Allah has power over all things.
Yeah.
He encompasses all by way of his knowledge, or even in this matter, the ruling of Allah is X or Y.
Yeah.
Taken in the round, or taken generally, all of these statements are matters of truth. The one who utters them, believing in them as such, and upholding them as part of Iman in Allah,
Yeah.
Altogether, it has to be accepted, acknowledged, submitted to, and where required, proclaimed. It must be taken as being deen by which one worships Allah, except, of course, in cases of genuine coercion.
Yeah, that's is well known for the story of Ikrah and so on. Ammar ibn Yasir being dumped in water and so on, essentially worse than waterboarding and so on. Okay, carry on. Mhm.
If this example and only this example bears some resemblance to the situation of a Muslim who is sinful or guilty of wrongdoing, then it bears an even stronger resemblance and closer kinship to the situation of a disbeliever who turns away, denies, or acts arrogantly. So let every rational person take appropriate heed of these matters.
Yeah.
Interesting one. I mean, the amount of times we come, the instances of government scholars where something's just so clear, but they continuously mislead in terms of like twisting arguments, very conspicuously, even on matters of historical things of that nature.
Yeah.
So it's quite prevalent.
Because if they admit what it is, then the catastrophe is there. Then these rulers are committing act of kufr. They must be removed. And this is a major issue. And you cannot ally with them. You cannot associate with them. You cannot take their salaries. You cannot. And these Munafiq scholars, their life will become miserable. They won't have salaries. They will have to have money. Many of them actually are kafir by this internally, although they appear to be Muslims, so they are really internally kuffar. That's the reason we call them Munafiq kafir. Because the word Munafiq sometimes used like someone who is two-faced. In Arabic, they use it for someone who is a two-faced. This is an abuse, actually, should not be. But it has become common. So that's the reason we say, for example, Fulan, so and so on is Munafiq kafir. Not to be confused with someone who is two-faced. Two-faced is a branch of nifaq, definitely. But it's not that what we mean here with nifaq. With someone who is outwardly Muslim by name, by attending masjid and so on. But in reality, there's not enough iman in his heart to take him out of the realm of kufr.
Okay.
Good.
Continuing. By way of another example, but stated in a different way, it can be said from a Muslim man who has been caught while under the influence of intoxication. If apprehended and brought before a judge sitting in a court governed by man-made laws, the individual would, in all likelihood, be released without penalty because according to that framework of law, he had not committed a crime and would not be liable for any form of punishment. In fact, many would point out that the mere fact of being under the influence of intoxication wouldn't be a valid basis for any detention or summons to court. But within the Sharia, this has mandated the enforcement of the requisite punishment for the consumption of alcohol, which would carry the penalty of flogging. Abandoning the rule of what Allah has revealed in this given example, and indeed in other similar examples, has nothing to do with succumbing to desire, weakness in the face of the whisperings of shaitan, or providing undue favor for a friend or relative. More to the point, it is an application of non-Islamic kufr laws that are at complete odds with Islam. At the bare minimum, it is a flagrant disregard for the final divine revealed law. Turning away from that divine revealed law is an act of kufr, which would take one outside of the fold of Islam. More reprehensible would be doubting the divine revealed law itself, outright rejection, obstinate denial, or even the arrogance of not wishing to formally submit to it, like the example of Iblis refusing to prostrate. Other such reprehensible notions are showing contempt and mockery toward it, or harboring hatred, hostility, and enmity against it. All of this clearly constitutes open kufr against divine revealed law, and is among the types of kufr that expel one totally from the fold of Islam. Can any rational person with even an atom's weight of Islam, iman, reverence, and love for Allah, His Messenger, and His Deen, doubt that such a judge has left the fold of Islam and is no longer under its protection? However, if a Muslim man is caught driving whilst under the influence of alcohol, secular judges would have no haste in applying the full range of penalties that can be invoked for this, including the possibility of a custodial sentence. In this example, it would be clear that a judge has not ruled by what Allah has revealed and has instead opted for referral and judgment to laws not divinely sanctioned.
Yep.
From an Islamic viewpoint, a custodial sentence would, in theory, be applied as a discretionary penalty for violating public order and endangering others, applied to both Muslim and non-Muslim citizens.
As part of traffic regulation, yes, but not be had. Would be most likely no flogging, maybe penalty, money penalty, or detention for a few days or something like that.
That would, of course, be the
or giving or taking points or taking away the driving license, things like that. Yeah.
That would, of course, be on the proviso that it was enacted by a properly constituted Islamic authority ruling by what Allah has revealed.
Yeah.
Again, in theory, that form of custodial punishment could be enacted and applied to non-Muslim citizens specifically because in general their religion do not level this as an outright prohibition. But
Exactly.
here the ruling would be contrary to what the Almighty has revealed, and the judge would therefore have combined two acts of kufr, not just one. Consequently, he would be more rightly labeled as kafir, zalim, and fasiq. Undoubtedly, he would be worse than his counterparts in this previous examples, going deeper in kufr, straying far from the correct righteous path. Similarly, in terms of sin, munkar, and kufr, is obedience to those who legislate without Allah's law, those who rule by other than what Allah has revealed, as He, the Exalted, says, and do not eat anything over which Allah's name has not been pronounced, for that is breaking the law. The evil ones incite their followers to argue with you. If you listen to them, you too will become mushrikeen. And that's Surah 6, 121. Namely, the verse is outlining clearly that if you were to follow them in this respect and obey them in permitting the carrion, you would therefore become kuffar and mushrikeen, as it entails affirming for other than Allah the right of sovereignty, authority, and legislation.
That's
Stated differently, it would be assigning the prerogative of command to other than Allah, as set out elsewhere in this work. The verse is Meccan in origin by unanimous agreement. The shirk referred exclusively to the shirk of disbelief, in other words, the major shirk, that expels one from the domain of Islam and utterly is at odds with its essence. Rulings that were related to minor shirk, hidden or concealed shirk, the etiquettes as they pertain to Tawheed, were revealed later at Medina. These included the matter of swearing oaths by one's father or uttering the statement, whatever Allah wills and what you will. These matters were uniquely established by the prophetic Sunnah. In terms of the matter of obedience, one who obeys following this matter of permitting and prohibiting would be guilty of shirk, to the level that this takes one outside of the fold of Islam. From this, the one being obeyed has been construed as a lord, a false god besides Allah. Inevitably, this is an unavoidable conclusion, as the narrative stemming from Adi ibn Hatim demonstrably shows. Without a shadow of doubt, the far more heinous and deeper into the realms of kufr and shirk is the legal authority which legislates constitutions, laws, and other such legal instruments that are in flagrant contradiction and opposition to the Sharia of Islam, not being derived from the sources based in revelation or according to the correct Islamic legal methodology of derivation. Without question, this constitutes another category of shirk altogether. He, the Almighty and Exalted, says, or have they partners who have prescribed for them any deen that Allah does not sanction? And were it not for the word of judgment, decision would have certainly been given between them, and surely the unjust have a painful punishment. An individual who legislates by engagement within the process of legislation seeks to try and become a contender with Allah in His siyada, sovereignty, and al-rububiyyah, the audacity of the challenger to the Almighty and Exalted, who has said, as reported in the famous Hadith Qudsi, pride is my cloak and greatness my robe, and he who competes with me in respect of either of them, I shall cast into hellfire. And that's sorry, no, it doesn't give us a citation for that. This legislator speaks whether that is explicitly or even implicitly with the statement that they are your supreme law. It is a call for people to worship Him, that worship being by way of obedience and following. Hence, it becomes one of the Tawheed, plural of Tawhut, one of their leaders, by way of acknowledgement. Whoever does that makes him a lord, a false god, and a legislator besides Allah. which naturally means that he has associated a partner with Allah, the Exalted and Majestic. Woe to all of them from the impending doom, the warning of a severe punishment that He, the Almighty, promises will come to pass. So that concludes this chapter. I think it's pretty clear. If anyone wants to add anything, feel free. And Doc, if you want to comment anything.
No, I think it's expanded. So many examples. These things has to be read several times and absorbed. Some people understand better with pictures and diagrams, do your own pictures and diagrams and so on, like flow charts and things like that.
Maybe even AI when we'll speak to Cash.
Yeah, if someone can do that, that's good. Why not? Yeah. Do that.
Okay. So yeah, one of the brothers, he's been doing AI on some of our chapters. Okay, so continuing, we'll make this the last chapter. This is chapter 9, the reality of those who say kufr, do not kufr. So this is a good actual halakha just on this subject. It covers quite a bit of ground. Okay, so page 67, chapter 9, the reality of those who say kufr, do not kufr. So this is the famous get out of jail phrase that the Madkhalis appropriate and use ad nauseum, thinking that they have a basis. At this juncture, we should not leave the verses of hukm to move on to another topic, except after pointing out that most of those who would retort with the statement kufr duna kufr, or restrict themselves to the labels of fisq and dhulm in the absence of an additional cause relating to takfir, as we have explained above, are apparently defenders on the existing status quo and political leadership, who all governed by other than what Allah has revealed. They try to take them out of the blaze of ridda and kufr and argue on their behalf falsely in a desperate attempt to seek to stabilize the illegitimate regimes, all the while seeking to tirelessly work to prevent anything near their overthrow. Naturally, there are but a few sincere scholars, those seeking truth and have a genuine fear of declaring someone a kafir, except upon the basis of conclusive evidence. But the majority of those who argue in our time belong to the first type, the sycophants of the current political regimes. If that is the case, we give them the glad tiding that this does not benefit them at all, and that is that the authority of their masters among the rulers of the world is totally invalid. Opposition to them, including their removal from office, is legitimate. Irrespective of the statement kufr duna kufr, regardless of whether they are more deserving of the labels fisq and dhulm. The reason for that is that Allah the Exalted has spared us this burden because He has informed the final Prophet ﷺ to provide us with a clear directive. He directed the companions not to dispute with those in authority, except if you see manifest kufr concerning which you have a clear proof from Allah. To begin consideration of the evidence in this respect, we start with a hadith which is recorded in the Sahih of Al-Bukhari.
This one being very lenient, because the hadith in Bukhari has also certain issues in itself, but let's just be extremely lenient with them.
Ismail narrated to us, Ibn Wahab narrated to me from Amr from Bukhir, from Bushr ibn Sa'id, from Junada ibn Abi Umayyah. He said, we entered upon Ubadah ibn Samit, and he was ill. We said, may Allah grant you health. Will you tell us a hadith you heard from the Prophet ﷺ by which Allah may make you benefit? He said, the Prophet ﷺ called us and we gave him the pledge of allegiance for Islam. And among the conditions...
That's in Mecca before immigration, yeah.
And among the conditions on which he took the pledge from us was that we were to listen and obey those in authority in times of ease and hardship, in matters that we liked and disliked, and even if others were given preference over us, and that we wouldn't dispute with the authority of people unless we see clear manifest kufr, for which we have a clear proof with us from Allah. Cited, that's in Bukhari, volume 9, 7055. Cited in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad, Al-Walid narrated to us, he said, Ibn Thawban narrated to me, perhaps he's Abdurrahman ibn Thabit ibn Thawban from Umayr ibn Hani, narrated it from Junada ibn Abi Umayyah, from Abdullah ibn Samit, from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu
Ubadah.
Ubadah ibn Samit,
Mhm.
from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu he said, provided they don't order you to commit a clear sin. That's Musnad Ahmad, volume 16, number 22637. Prior to the citation of this, the following is recorded in the Musnad also. Al-Walid ibn Muslim narrated to us, Al-Awza'i narrated to me from Umair ibn Hani, that he narrated it from Junada ibn Abi Umayyah, from Ubadah ibn As-Samit. He said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu said, you must listen and obey, be that in hardship or ease, in what you like and what you dislike, even when others are given preference over you. Do not dispute the authority of those in charge, even if you think you have a right to it. That's the Arabic edition records the following narrations.
The translation is not good. Even if you think you are more worthy for the authority, you should be an authority instead of them, that's not a good reason to dispute and rebel. Only if they command a clear sin or they commit kufr and so on. So that you judge, for example, the current ruler or the elected president as inferior to you is not a good reason.
Next, the following is recorded in the Musnad Ash-Shamiyin by At-Tabarani. While the intersecting channel of reporting largely remains the same together with the reported initial wording, there are some additional matters reported which are of note. Muhammad ibn Abu Dhura al-Dimishqi narrated to us, Hisham ibn Ammar narrated to us, Hawala and Ibn Duhaym narrated to us, my father narrated to us. They said, Al-Walid ibn Muslim narrated to us, Ibn Tawban narrated to us, Umair ibn Hani narrated to us from Junada ibn Abi Umayyah, from Abdullah Ubadah ibn Samit. He said, the Messenger of Allah said, you must listen and obey, be that in hardship or ease, in what you like and what you dislike. Even when others are given preference over you, do not dispute the authority of the people, even if you think you have a right to it. Umair said, after which Hudayr as-Sulami narrated to me that he heard from Ubadah ibn Samit from the Prophet ﷺ. He added, except if he commands you to commit a clear sin, for which you have evidence from the book. Hudayr said, I asked Ubadah, what if I obey him in that? He said, you will be seized by your legs and thrown into fire. Let him come and save you then. The next tradition is recorded in Sahih of Ibn Hibban. A Sufi reported to us in Baghdad. He said, Al-Haytham ibn Kharijah narrated to us. He said, Mudrik ibn Sa'ad al-Fadhari, Abu Sa'ad narrated to us from Hayyan Abi al-Nadir that he heard from Junada ibn Umayyah, who heard from Ubadah ibn Samit, saying the Messenger of Allah said, O Ubadah, I replied, at your service. He said, listen and obey in terms of ease and difficulty, when they are forced or when they prefer you over them, even if they consume your wealth and strike your neck, unless it is an open disobedience to Allah. Okay.
This additional part is questionable, that if they strike us, not strike your neck, flog your back and so on, take your money.
That's the famous one they use.
Famous they use, yeah. But
Ignoring
most likely there's a problem with the isnad. I have checked other things, so we'll add it inshallah in the next edition. So
unless they establish the prayer. Initially, this was the case as per the pledge taken at Al-Aqaba.
Read that again, the isnad. What was this again?
Which one? The one previously.
The last one. That's just 2 lines.
A Sufi narrated to us. He said, Al-Haytham ibn Kharijah narrated to us. He said, Mudrik ibn Sa'd al-Fadhari. Abu Sa'd narrated to us. Hayyan Abi al-Nadir, that he heard from Junada ibn Umayyah, who heard from Ubadah ibn Samit. So that's the chain.
Okay, that's clearly a problem, because the hadith from Junada all are different. They don't have this, even if you whips you and so on. So this one of these, yeah, I think that's the problem. Okay, I will have to review that once more. That would flogging and beating and so on. Yeah.
Continuing, this is the next subtopic of the same sort of thing. Unless they establish the prayer. Initially,
Yeah,
this was
that's not hadith of Junada عن عبادة بن الصامت. This is
just continue.
someone mixing two hadith. Yeah, one of them is most likely fabricated, mixing with that one.
Initially,
this is mixed up. It's not a correct hadith, but it needs to be a bit revisited more thoroughly. We're getting there, inshallah soon.
Initially, this was the case as per the pledge taken at Al-Aqaba. When the companions gave their allegiance to the Prophet ﷺ, that allegiance entailed that they would support him as they would support their wives and children, even in war. Then the Prophet expanded upon this and forbade rebellion, saying, "No, as long as they establish prayer among you." Examples of this being reported are numerous and are set out across the 9 ahadith, which will be quoted as evidence. We begin with that recorded in the Sahih of Imam Muslim, narrated upon the authority of Auf ibn Malik, which has the most complete and best reported wording. Ishaq ibn Ibrahim al-Hanzali narrated to us, Isa ibn Yunus reported to us, Al-Awza'i narrated to us from Yazid ibn Jabir, from Raziq ibn Hayyan, from Muslim ibn Qirza, from Abu Auf ibn Malik, from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu, the best of your rulers are those whom you love and who love you, who invoke Allah's blessings upon you and you invoke his blessings upon them. And the worst of your rulers are those whom you hate and who hate you, and whom you curse and who curse you. It was asked, O Messenger of Allah, shouldn't we overthrow them by the sword? He replied, no, as long as they establish the salah among you. If you then find anything detestable in them, you should hate their administration, but do not withdraw yourselves from their obedience.
That's also quite, there's some questionable things there in that one. We'll see. Carry on.
The second tradition is narrated upon the authority of the mother of the believers, Salama, with a dazzlingly authentic isnad as recorded in the Musnad of Ahmad. Yazid narrated to us, Hisham ibn Hassan narrated to us from Al-Hasan, from Dabba ibn Muhsin, from Salama. She said, the Messenger of Allah sallam, said, there will be rulers over you, some of whom you will approve, others not. You will recognize some things they do as good and deny some as evil. Whoever rejects the bad, he is innocent, and whoever hates the bad, he is saved. But whoever is pleased with it and follows them, then he isn't. They said, O Messenger of Allah, should we not fight them? He replied, no, provided they establish 5 prayers upon you.
So there's also questionable Hassan memory is a problem there. So these have to be reviewed again. So some of the last hadith. We have found other channels to show there are some problems in the isnad.
Also, just at a practical point, I mean, the things that is continually reinforced is one is authority itself. So in practical terms, these rulers don't have authority to start with. Secondly, ruling by kufr invalidates them.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that.
And also, the hadith, which is tawatur, is the one that you've in fighting resisting groups. Sorry, in the Imatul Quraysh. That.
Oh yeah, that's also no, but this was not incorporated yet. We'll improve on that, inshallah.
So basically, if you imagine the Madkhalis out there just looking for any weak narrations, that book alone just destroys them, obliterates them out of the water. And the entire subject of authority, you can't just walk up to shoot 50,000 people and say, I'm in charge. You're invalidated. You have to have a valid bayah. So they lose on all counts.
Yeah.
Although included in the Sahih of Imam Muslim, it is an abbreviated form, limited to the wording, no, as long as they pray. Another version of this appears in Mujam al-Awsat by Tabarani with a Sahih Isnad. Indeed, there will be leaders over you who do things you recognize as good and things you reject. Whoever rejects their misdeeds is free of blame, and whoever hates their actions is safe. But save those who follows or approve, but save those who follow or approves of them. They said, O Messenger of Allah, should we not fight them? No, he replied, no, as long as they establish the salah. The third narration is reported from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, may Allah be pleased with him, and is recorded in the Musnad of Ahmad. There is a slight variance in the wording setting the overall context. There will be rulers over you to whom the hearts will incline and the skin will soften. Then there will be rulers over you whom the hearts will recoil and the skin will shudder. A man asked, shall we not fight them, O Messenger of Allah? He replied, no, as long as they establish the Salah. There is also the narration as reported by Khabab ibn al-Arat, which has the reported text from the Messenger from the Prophet ﷺ, no, as long as they establish the Salah. Two further narrations have a slight variance, no, as long as they pray, and no, as long as they not as long as they pray, which is narrated upon the authority of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, and no, leave them as long as they fast and pray, which is narrated upon the authority of Uqba ibn Amir. The next three narrations are reported on the authority of different companions, Abu Huraira, Ibn Abbas, and Umar ibn al-Khattab. May Allah be pleased with them all. Taken in general, these traditions support much of the contextual background as already highlighted, but they don't carry the wording which has been highlighted thus far about the prophetic response when asked about opposing the rulers. So there's quite a long appendix. I won't bother reading it out, but it just goes into some of the further details. But whoever's got the copy of the book, you can read that. So now in the section continuing, it's subheading analysis. How is the phrasing as expressed in the narrations of Iqamatus Salah, establishing the Salah, to be understood? In this context here, it is related to Iqamat ad-Din, the establishment of the Deen, as is supported and reinforced by the following evidences. Firstly, there is a hadith of al-Hasan, may Allah be pleased with her.
Hussein al-Asadiyya.
Hussein, may Allah be pleased with her, which was narrated concerning the requirement to hear and obey the legitimate ruler, even if it is an Abyssinian slave with the mutilated head, upon the proviso that he rules by the book of Allah. The narration is recorded in Sahih of Muslim, but also within the collection of most scholars with the most authentic channels of transmission. Muhammad ibn al-Muthanna narrated to us, Muhammad ibn Ja'far narrated to us, Shu'bah narrated to us from Yahya ibn Hussein. He said, I heard my grandmother narrated that she heard the Prophet ﷺ saying in his final sermon on the occasion of the last pilgrimage, even if a slave is appointed over you, who leads you according to the book of Allah, then you are all to listen to him and obey him.
This is in Hijjat al-Wada, so this is very summary of all things.
Secondly, there are hadith which outline the command to fight the tribe of the Quraysh and to destroy their green. This is where, in other words, their elite and flourishing status, should they not remain upright upon the deen. These points are outlined in 4 hadith, which are reported upon the authority of several different companions. We begin the hadith, which has an isnad that is sahih, narrated upon the authority of Thawban. Ahmad ibn Mansur al-Mu'addil al-Asbahani narrated to us, Yunus ibn Habib narrated to us, Abu Dawood narrated to us, Shu'bah narrated to us from Al-A'mash and Mansur from Salim ibn Abi Jad. From Thawban, he said, the Messenger of Allah said, remain upright with Quraysh as long as they remain upright with you. But if they do not, then place your swords on your shoulders and annihilate their elite or flourishing part. And if you do not do that, then be miserable farmers eating from the toil of your own hands.
Self-like, and a few the roads, yeah. Become like slaves, essentially. You will become like slaves. You will sink to the level of slaves, which has happened. So we have seen it over 1,000 years by years. Yeah.
Next, there is a narration reported upon the authority of Anas ibn Malik, which is recorded in Tarikh Wasit. Aslam narrated to us, he said, Muhammad ibn Abdul Malik narrated to us, he said, Mu'alla ibn Abdurrahman narrated to us, he said, Sharif ibn Abdullah narrated to us from Umar ibn Abdullah from Anas bin Malik. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ came to us while we were gathered in the house, and he forbade us from making room for him. Then while standing, he said, the leaders are from Quraysh. Says that 3 times. Indeed, they have a right over you, and you have a right over them. If they show mercy when asked for it, fulfill their covenants, and judge justly, then they deserve obedience. But whoever does not do that, upon him is the curse of Allah, the angels, and all people. A following tradition is also recorded immediately after this in the same work, which carries the additional wording, Allah will accept neither exchange nor justice from him. So if they, the leaders, do not do so, then place your swords upon your shoulders and destroy their flourishing elite, and do not become miserable farmers.
Mhm.
You often translate that as exterminate the green of them, or you'll become miserable farmers.
Mhm.
The next narration is reported upon the authority of Hani bint Abi Talib. May Allah be pleased with her. He, the speaker, is Minha, and I asked Ahmad about Ali ibn Abis, who narrated from him, i.e. Al-Himami, from Abu Fadarah, from Abu Salih, the freedman of Hani, from Hani, who said that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said something similar to the hadith of Thawban, remain upright with Quraysh. So in reply, he, Ahmad, said, it is not Sahih, it is Munkar. Indeed, there are proofs to demonstrate that this is your commentary, that the assessment of Imam Ahmad here is incorrect. Broadly, their channel is Hassan, and there is nothing untoward with it. Lastly, there is a narration which is reported from Nu'man ibn Bashir. Muhammad ibn Khalid al-Rasibi narrated to us, Muhallab ibn al-A'la narrated to us, Shu'aib ibn Bayan narrated to us, Shu'ba narrated to us. He said, I heard Simak saying, I heard Nu'man ibn Bashir saying, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallam, saying, remain upright with Quraysh as long as they remain upright with you. But if they do not, then place your swords upon your shoulders and discuss and destroy their flourishing elite. There is a message from Allah. This is a message from Allah, the Mighty and Sublime, which has been conveyed upon the tongue of the most eloquent of His noble creation, the one protected by His infallibility, granted Jawami al-Qalb. However, there is a pressing need for a thorough discussion upon these matters, with a detailed explanation born from illumination by the text of revelation, namely the Quran and the prophetic Sunnah. That must be accompanied by diligence to prevent a distortion of words from their proper places, or turning the Quran into fragments, parts which are divided and disparate, or even worse than that, believing in one part while disbelieving in another. Undoubtedly, that is the approach adopted by government scholars, the sycophants who are blameworthy and ultimately forsaken. For a further in-depth discussion upon these matters, the esteemed reader can refer to the separate works that were written to cover these areas entitled Hakimiyya wa Siyad al-Sharh and Munabathat al-Hukam, a position to the rulers. Is that the same as Mahatib al-Hukam, or is it a different work?
حسب الحكام. Is that what's the name? What's the book's name?
This is Munabathat al-Hukam.
إذا أنا ثبتت على ذلك محاسبة.
Okay.
I've no separate book that.
Okay. The text of that's being translated right now. Eventually, the text of the Quran has used the terms for those who don't judge by what Allah has revealed, the specific terms of kafir, zalim, and fasik, just as it has used them in other contexts too. One such example is where He, the Almighty, said, He will give the disbelievers no means of overcoming the believers. وَلَنْ يَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ سَبِيلًا. And that's 4141. Evidently, this provides cogent proof to the matter of the invalidity of a kafir having authority over a mu'min, and the absolute eternal prohibition of his leadership over Muslims or presidency over their political domain, based upon the certain consensus of the Muslims on this matter. Here among the relevant verses is what Allah the Almighty said, my pledge does not hold for those who do evil. La yanalu ahdi adh-dhalimin, and that's Surah Baqarah 124. This nullifies the authority of the Fasik. This is the correct view held by the majority of scholars, as we have detailed in the standalone chapter upon this matter from our book, Ta'at al-Uli al-Amr.
Yeah, we just the rules.
It is established beyond doubt that whosoever does not judge by what Allah has revealed is certainly a kafir, fasik, or zalim, based on the text of the Quran and the conclusive certain consensus. Accordingly, his wilaya, authority and governance, is also thereby invalidated absolutely. This matter is regardless of whether he only deserved the labels of wrongdoing and sinfulness. Here I hasten to argue that this is a false opinion. contradicting the consensus of the companions as demonstrated clearly in a bespoke chapter on this matter from Abu Hakimiyya wa Siyat al-Sharh. Secondly, whether he is deserving of having the label of kafir marshaled against him, with his kufr being somewhat or short of or less than outright kufr in the parlance of that discourse, kufr dun kufr, which is not like the one who disbelieves in Allah, his angels, his books, and his messengers, or a disbelief that does not expel from the fold of Islam. Even if we were to concede all of this hypothetically and taking the narration attributed to Ibn Abbas as being authentic, which it is not, in conclusion, we say to the enemies of Allah, the sycophantic government scholars, do not rejoice, your arguments are totally refuted. All the supposed proof of you marshal is weak. You have neither doubt nor evidence. Hurry to repent before death and departure. That departure, if not preceded by repentance, will inevitably be a fall with your heads into the abyss to eternal and utter damnation. Take note, government scholars, Farisulah. وما أدراك ما هي نار حامية. What will explain to you what that is? A blazing fire. That's Surah Qariyah 10 to 11. In any event, it is reiterated to the esteemed reader to review these matters thoroughly and refer to the additional books as mentioned herein to obtain a proper grasp of these pressing issues. And a lot of them are on our GitLab that have been translated. So you should be able to find the link to the GitLab in the description. So from the main reading of the text, I think this is a good point to stop. We haven't covered that much in terms of time, but in terms of chapters, we've done a good number of chapters here.
Mhm.
So let's open it up for discussion on this, inshallah. I know that some people have questions.
Assalamu alaikum, Professor. So regarding the hadith of وَإِنْ جَلَدَ ظَهْرُكَ وَضَرَبَ مَالُكَ, you just critiqued the hadith, the narration of that came from Ubadah ibn al-Samit, right? You said that there's someone weak there. Or
It came from other channels,
Yes.
but also we have a problem.
It came in a different narration through Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman. Okay, Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman. This narration was narrated in Sahih Muslim, but the thing is that it is narrated by Abu Salam Mamtur عن حذيفة بن اليمان. الدارقطني, he says Abu Salam, he did not witness, he did not make sama'.
Yes, it's broken. Yeah, I said there's other
yes.
channels, all of them are broken. Yeah,
Absolutely. So Ad-Daraqutni says saying this, that this is mursal, despite Abu Salam he himself is thiqa, but usually the Shamiyin, because this guy Abu Salam Mamtur is Shami, right? It is, they used to make marasil.
No, we'll have to discuss that. This is a technicality. We'll discuss it. Yeah, there's nothing is established there. There was one narration, Ahmed, but it is Ahmed confused to ahadith. So there's nothing, no respectable narration, even if he beats you back and takes you.
But let me tell you, the narration in Sahih Muslim, I'm telling you that Abu Salam and
I know that.
He only narrated it in Sahih Muslim because Muslim he took the hadith, the narration from Ubadah ibn al-Samit.
These technicalities are being worked out completely, thoroughly. Don't worry.
Okay. I'm just telling you the reason why Muslim he reported it, because he thought that the narration
doesn't matter why Muslim reported
is strong.
No. That is not an excuse. Muslim can have his system, but we have other counter arguments, and it has to be scrutinized. Muslim Bukhari, everyone can be scrutinized. That's it.
Yes.
There's no holy cows there.
Okay. Now the original, what is the original narration of Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman? He
doesn't contain this.
Yes, it's not like this. He says أن تعض على جذع شجرة أن تفارق كل تلك الجماعات ولو أن تعض على جذع.
All of that will be studied, scrutinized.
So it's completely different. It's completely different than وإن جلد ظهرك وضرب مالك.
Definitely.
Yeah, he
Definitely.
just let me continue. I will finish in 30 seconds, inshallah. Here he is saying that you must leave all of them, even if you like تعض على جذع الشجرة, even if you chew on the branch of a tree. And the other weak hadith, he says no, you accept him even if he lashes your back and he wipes you. So it's contradictory. The two
That,
narrations of Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman.
it has to be done more thoroughly than here. That's what I'm saying. It will be
Okay.
done. It's being done, and it will be completed also. Yeah.
Okay, so the conclusion is that the narration by Ubadah that came through Ubadah ibn Samit is critiqued. As you said, there's something wrong with it. And similarly, I'm telling you, the narration that came through
All of them. I tell you also, yeah, all of them.
from Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman is also critiqued.
The one in Ahmad is confused to ahadith. That's also explained.
Okay.
Don't worry.
The one in Ahmad I haven't looked into, honestly.
And
But
we'll thoroughly do that. Don't worry about it.
okay,
Yeah. Just take it
okay.
now at that face.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. The other thing is that when you said we talked today about Hakimiyya and rule of ruling with what Allah revealed. I don't know if you have heard it, but I made a month ago. I made like a sound recording in Enterprise. I added a few more points, perhaps like you did not remember them during the session of like refuting what's his name, Faris Al-Hammadi on
One of your
Al-Muwalat.
videos, yeah.
Yes, yes, on Mualat. I made 30 videos, just adding few points, perhaps due to a lapse of mind or something. A few points you have missed. One of them, you said that Umar bin Khattab, he understood that this is a penalty worthy of death punishment. I refuted you. I'm saying that Umar is not hujjah in anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his book he stated a clear ayah that those who do this thing are worthy of death penalty. Independent of Umar's understanding, whether he understands it to correct or wrong. That's one point. The other point I also highlighted is the point of why what's his name? Subhanallah, today I'm not focused. What's his name? The Sahabi who made the Muwalat, Hatib bin Abi Balta'a. Why he wasn't executed? You argued that he was Badri. I'm arguing that no, he's a Badri is a secondary point, but the main point is so and so and so. One of them is ta'wil.
That's it. That's discussed thoroughly.
Yes, yes, yes.
But maybe in the video there was not time to go in these fine points. But
Yes, I think you haven't stressed it. You only mentioned it casually
yeah,
at
no
the end.
problem.
But
Yeah. Any video we make or something, there will be something missing, and anyone notice that he will add his own video, and we expand. That's it.
yes,
No need.
so I will repost the
No need to
recording.
make. No need to make a long apology. No, you must do it. That's it. No
Excellent.
apology. No apology. No.
Excellent, excellent. So I will repost the sound clip on Enterprise, so perhaps you will listen to it, inshallah. It's only just 30 minutes, but because today's Tawheed session is talking about this demanding Hakimiyya stuff, so I thought that this is like important
Yeah, good.
thing to
But
discuss.
follow up with a group of about the Dawk of Muawiyah. We have to finish it soon.
Okay, inshallah. Yes, yes, yes. I'm doing the best, inshallah. Yes, yes, yes. In addition to that, inshallah, I will phone call you regarding the
Now, by the
study.
way, the AI can do the transcript of the Asil channel 30 episodes.
Yes, I'm doing it through the AI already.
Yeah,
Because
go ahead. Just,
yeah, because it takes a lot of time. But the narrations, I have to bring the narrations from the sources.
Not necessary. Just get them at least, and then we can build on that. And if we can get the initial from sources, we add that, and we will even improve on it, inshallah. Just go ahead.
Excellent.
Just complete the work. That's what
Excellent. One more point on a different subject. I also have been checking all the narrations of لو كنت آمرا أحدا أن يسجد لأحد لأمرت المرأة أن تسجد لزوجها. The prostrating of women to her husband. You know the Shab, the good Shab who brought us all the narrations. It's like 350 pages. I have gone through all of them. So I have looked into the narrations, and I have written my notes. So inshallah, I will phone call you to discuss.
Completed the writing. No, completed the writing, and then we'll have to complete it.
Sheikh, I have my own notes, but I cannot do the writings. You know, because the writings takes a lot of time. So inshallah, we will do the recording.
No. Dictate to AI. It will write for you. Don't worry.
No, okay, inshallah. But I'm suggesting that we do the discussion verbally, and I will post the
It's no good because we have already material there. We want to improve it and have it in writing, and then it will be orally in videos and things.
Okay.
But we have to get the
inshallah.
solid material written first.
Inshallah.
They said use AI now. Use as much as because
okay, but I'm telling you, it's finished. This narration is finished. I have gone through it.
But focus really on Muawiyah. Yeah.
Okay. Will inshallah.
We have to finish that. We have to finish that also.
Okay, I will inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Okay.
If anyone wants to say anything, inshallah, far away. Okay, don't all start at once. Okay.
So I saw a couple of the screens of the notes or what is of the. I get a small screen which sees someone's writing something in it.
Those are just comments.
Yeah, comments and questions. Okay.
Yeah, just a couple. So Abu Muhammad already spoken. Someone was, how do you refute this? The constant used to refer unjust disbelieving rulers. I think we've covered that. If there's anything missing, you can unmute. Anyone wants to speak? Get closer to the mic. We can barely hear you.
Can you hear me better now?
Barely. Can you hear him? Okay, Doc.
Yeah. Come closer to the mic or get a headset or something. People get the basic things. So.
Yeah, sorry, it's just I'm at work. It's on Zoom. There's two different settings. My question was regarding last week. You were saying about Nizam al-Islam.
Barely hear you now. Really barely. We barely.
Tell you what, if you want to do this properly, sort your mics out and everything, because this is.
Bring it as close as you can.
Can you hear me better now?
That's much better.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to ask from last week's halaqah, the Nizam al-Islam. You're saying that the need for messengership, this is wrong. Chapter 1. I didn't understand the argument. I think the main point you were saying that is a textual point, the need for messenger.
No. This is Sheikh is arguing that we need messengers. So Allah is sending messengers. So this is not a good argument. All what we need to say, there have been messengers, and prove that there are messengers. That's concerning the proof. But he's discussing it as if there's a need and there's somehow Allah has to send them and things like that, and we have to expect that. No, that's not. The Quran is very clear in that. When Adam was sent down, say, if you receive guidance from me, who follow my guidance will not be misguided, and who turn away will be unhappy. That's it. If you receive, that's it. There's no obligation on Allah to send a messenger.
I think this was Sheikh Taki argued from the point of view of rational necessity for human beings to be able to legislate their affairs.
Even that's mistake.
That's how Sheikh Taki framed it.
Yeah, your point, even that is wrong. Even
and your point is this: that it's about if you're going to be judged, and punished, that's where it comes in.
That's then if Allah wants to account you, then He has to tell you what He wants from you. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's within His remit to just let you manage your affairs and expire accordingly.
Wouldn't you say there's something in between, Sheikh, in the sense that look, I understood the ayah. If you from the ayah about Adam al-Islam, I understand that. My point is that the need for how to use like a manual. The first iPhone that came out, either the manufacturer or the manual has to tell you how to get the best functionality, what the purpose is, the detail remit, etc.
But
from that perspective,
Sheikh Taqi is assuming already that Allah created the people to obey Him, etc., and then in that case, messengers are necessary,
making it obligatory. But I was saying I was coming from a slightly different angle, that for you to know exactly how to fulfill your purpose in the details, you must have a message.
Assuming that's a purpose, but if they did receive a messenger, you don't know the purpose, then manage yourself according to the best you can do. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
it seems to be he arguing that humans need messengers, otherwise they will not survive. They will not. No, that's not true. That's simply not true. That's simply not true.
And the issue of no, they survive. Yes.
It,
But
it,
in
will,
terms
it,
of
will, or it may be not an ideal management, but it can work for thousands of years. Pharaohs, with Pharaoh like a god on earth and owning everything, and the rest essentially are slaves, going for thousands of years.
yep.
Life function. That's my point. It's a fundamental philosophical point. You don't argue with the need of messengers. Say there have been messengers claiming that. What's the evidence for that? That's it. That's the
Yep.
point.
No, that's fine. I had another question, but I can't remember.
And I'm going more deeper philosophically. He is more for the campaigning people. But I think this is a good way to not a good way to campaign.
So that was one of the reasons why you reshuffled Tawheed.
There's not the Tawheed was there to refute the Wahhabis mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. But then we have to do anything cleaner and go deeper and overcome accumulated errors of the past.
Yep. No, I totally agree. I had one other question, but I can't remember. I'll have to do it on another session.
Inshallah, no problem.
Jazakallah khair.
Professor, I do have
a philosophical point.
Yeah.
Professor, I do have one point from last session. I kind of remember now when we spoke about the relationship between the head of state and any subject, like a common citizen. So we already established that if it is a topic that if it is an issue related to halal and haram or what Allah has revealed, we must refer to a constitutional court, and the head of state must obey.
If a dispute.
If a dispute, yes.
Yeah, that's
But-
the meaning of refer to Allah and His Messenger. What's the meaning of that then?
Absolutely, but that's only if the head of state acknowledges that this issue
No,
is
no, that's why we say acknowledge. You dispute with him and apply to the court. That's it.
yeah. So let's suppose that we already took the example of Iran going into Syria. Let's suppose that there's a parliamentarian guy who says that going to Syria is haram, but according to Khamenei, it is permissible. So how can we reconcile both? Because the first guy is saying this is bound by what Allah said.
He will, if really says haram in the haram sense,
Yes,
not matter of mubahat, you can do this or this or this or this.
that's the thing. Yes,
And
it's
they
a
must-
genuine dispute.
There must be a court arbitrating that. They don't have a court, obviously, arbitrating that. Or the people did not approach a court.
I don't think they have a court or the head of state. that-
Independent of that, Iran is not our reference. Reference is the ayah. فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله ورسوله. Allah is not going to come for judgment until يوم القيامة. Al-Rasul is dead, so it to his sunnah. How to interpret it? There must be an authority which can between the disputant decide finally, and that's usually in new and modern constitution, a well-established constitutional court.
Yes, a high court or constitutional court. But my question to you, when we have a dispute of this nature, like the citizen, the guy, he is saying this is halal and haram.
The judge will see it and say this is not an issue of halal haram. The judges, the court will see it is a matter of left to the imam to decide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but according to the head of state, who has the right to attend to court or not, he can simply.
No. He has no right. He must attend. What do you mean?
But because according to him, this is permissible. So why does he need to attend the court?
No. He must because someone is disputing with him. Come on, Abu Muhab, you have a bit of sense. Just read the ayah. فإن تنازعتم في شيء, you have a dispute.
Yeah.
You're saying you are committing haram. You are committing real haram. Say no, it's a matter of ijtihad. There are various options. I'm choosing according to the rest. Say no, there's not various options.
Absolutely.
Breaking the level of haram. Okay, done. There's a court have to, and the court may say the head of state is right.
But according to the narrations that we just read today in Tawheed Halaqa, in their entirety, that the head of state, he's the asil. I mean.
No. You did not read the narration properly. Even the mutilated one. The question was also, should we not kill them?
There's a narration, if I remember, that even if you think you are more right
Worthy
than
of the job, yeah, but not that he's committing haram. Or
but
haram.
haram according to you, not according to him.
Yeah. Apply to the court to see the court will tell you are mistaken, and you have to argue your case there.
But what if he says, I'm the ruler here, you give me bay'ah, so I'm not going to
No,
the high court?
That is essentially he is refusing to refer to Allah and His Messenger. That's the sword must be pulled. That's it. In that case, if you say I'm not going to the court, then you pull the sword and you start fighting. But the mere rejection going to arbitration is a sign of kufr. Is a clear act of kufr.
I see. Even though he's refusing going to the constitutional court, not because he acknowledges that he's committing a haram, but
he has to. There is a dispute, like me disputing with someone a piece of land.
Okay.
You go to the court. The alternative is everyone has his sword and start fighting. That doesn't work in a human, properly organized society. So it must be an independent authority which judges between the two.
I see.
And that's it.
In any case, he has to attend the constitutional court. It's not up to him to
Or
say
send
no.
a lawyer or send his documentation and so on. Yeah, that's
Okay.
procedural. You are now stuck between procedure and the fundamental principle.
Okay. Now,
Don't confuse
I was
yourself.
slightly confused. I was slightly confused because the ruler got the bay'ah from this guy, so he cannot dispute with him in the long run that you are.
He can dispute everything, even the bay'ah. The bay'ah we give you bay'ah, obey and in hardship and so on, as long as you're within the Quran and Sunnah. The bay'ah is not arbitrary, absolute.
Yeah, but again, my point is that according to the ruler, he is abiding by Allah and His Messenger. He's not committing like.
If I'm saying you are not doing it, then let us arbitrate.
Okay.
That's so trivial. I wonder how are they able to see.
I don't know. Wallahi, today I got confused.
It's not according or not according. The Quran says, the Quran addresses rational human being. If you have a dispute, then refer to Allah and His Messenger. We know Allah will not judge in dunya directly. The Quran is there. But Quran has to be read and analyzed and see what's qat'i and not qat'i. The same with Sunnah. Sunnah, refer to Sunnah. When the Messenger was alive, he's there. He's the Sunnah himself. That's no dispute. After him, so we have to check the narrations, see what's mutawatir, not mutawatir. Is the wording as it? And that's what the court should do.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. Yes. By necessity, there's no other way. Otherwise, let me refer to Allah, His Messenger.
Referring
what does it mean?
Only if both parties acknowledges that this mas'ala.
No, they don't need to acknowledge. That's the dispute.
Okay.
There's something amiss. One side saying something, say no, you are breaking the limit of the law, of the revealed law.
I see. And obviously this article or this law is not found in any Muslim countries, in the constitution of any Muslim countries.
Don't worry what found.
Yeah.
We know that. We don't need to discuss it. But rationally is very clear. This is the best, and this will have the best conclusion. How can it have the best conclusion if it cannot be settled? To settle it, it must be an independent arbitration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And honestly, it's kind of mind-boggling that when you look at any of the Muslim countries' constitution, there is no single article that says the subject or the citizen has the right to consult to go to the High Court if he disputed anything with the ruler. There's no one article states that in any of the Muslim constitutions.
There may be some smaller disputes about there. For example, he did not, an administration did not issue your salary you deserve. They were
that's one they have. Yeah,
these are smaller things, but it come to the one with bay'ah and matar. Is it now time to pull the sword? That's a major dispute. That must be to a major constitutional court.
Yeah. It must be stressed in the constitution. It must be written in big font. Yeah,
naturally.
Yeah, I'm telling you, none of the Muslim constitutions have written that in their constitutions. None of the Muslim countries.
They have. They call that the rubbish they have usually as a constitution.
Yeah.
The formulation is a mockery.
Yes.
Formulation is a mockery.
Absolutely.
Some of it is like the writing class. Like, for example, the Saudi basic law. And the dawla is committed to care for the family and so on. And what is this nonsense? What is this? This is like speaking in a public place or sermons in the Jum'ah. Constitution should be really this one, this obligation, this is prohibited, this cannot be issued, this.
And let me give you another point. Like in some countries where there are different sects or different religions, it becomes mushy. Like for example, the Ikhwan in Syria in 1950 constitution, they did not write clearly that the source of Quran and Sunnah is the fundamental law of the country, because there are Alawis, there are Christians, there are Ismailis, so they cannot.
They will have their only, because they did not know and they did not study history. They did not know about the Confederate system.
That's the thing. That's absolutely the point that I want to make.
Abu Muhammad, you're talking about miserable situation 1400 years after the mutilation of the Islamic government.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the ideal situation, but how to formulate it in a correct, legalistic form. All these rubbish they call constitution is not a constitution.
Absolutely.
It's not even to the level of any European respect to ethic constitution.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You want to see how constitutions are written? See the American Constitution or the amendment. See the German Constitution, and then you see how constitution should be written. Although they have their own deficiency because the reference frame is again faulty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. One of their deficiencies, like for example, I'm just highlighting this for educational purpose, not just to waste time. One of the main flaws in the American Constitution is that the state cannot have its own media to make propagandistic.
No, I did not regard as that should be left to the people, to the parties.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even in the American Constitution, they stated that clearly. Yet in the American media, all of their politicians are bought. CNN has bought them through.
Because the system is the capitalistic. If you have the money, you can establish newspaper, you can influence.
That's the thing. That's why I'm saying it flows. The American Constitution is flawed.
Not the Constitution. That's the society and the system of life there. Constitution cannot do everything.
Yeah.
The people have to be alert. They have to do command the good and forbid. الذين مكنهم أقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأمروا بالمعروف ونهوا عن المنكر. There must be continuous observation of the government and injunctions and following and accounting. From outside the state apparatus.
Absolutely, because the Constitution cannot close any all of the gaps.
No, this is societal. This is not touch that. The Constitution is the basic law of the state, which regulates the administrative, the administration, the judiciary, and so on. At least the skeleton of that. It should be out. This is accounting everyone.
Yes,
it has to be out.
Exactly. Yes.
And so the definition of the Islamic State, Sheikh Taqi had definition is an executive body of the Ummah. It was not, but while the Western people, the problem they developed after the divine right of kings. So that's the reason for you have in America these issues now going up and down about so-called executive privilege. So in Islam there's no executive privilege or any immunity for the head of state. There's none. There's none.
Yeah.
There's none. At all. There's none.
Like we just argued, any citizen can take the head of state to the constitutional court.
Yeah, he will apply and so on.
Yeah.
And the court will decide about this case. He will see if this application making sense or it is just frivolous, and then he punish the frivolous. All of that will be the judicial system will be able to manage it.
No impunity for him, you are saying.
No immunity. No, the principle of immunity is not an Islamic system, but it's coming from, they inherited it from the divine right of kings. The king is above the law. So they made the president in the law, but gave him certain immunity, thinking to run the affairs and so on, you have to have certain immunity. But this is really not needed.
Yeah.
It's not needed. It's not needed. And what mean immunity for us? If let us say, for example, you are as the president walking on the street, and you beat someone up, and the policeman can come and take you to the cannot take you in America. Say, I have privilege. I'm the president. You cannot take me there. You have to go to the parliament. No. In Islam, you can take him to the prison, and within 24 hours, present you to a judge. I saw him. That's you have seen it, beating someone in the street.
Yeah.
Not within his authority to beat in Saudi. If this one is having a beating for some reason or another, it must be after judicial process in a procedure. That's the thing of a president. You don't beat someone in the street because you get angry with him. You will treat it like any other citizen.
Yes.
Let's just say he made qadf against a woman. Then she can sue for qadf, and he has to be flogged, and most likely he has to be taken out of power. Because if he does not accept the had, then he's rebellious against the Islamic law. If it's proven against him with certitude in a court of law, and if he accepts them, then the moment he accepts that he committed that, he is then a fasiq and he cannot stay in power.
He cannot make shahada. لا تقبل له شهادة.
Whatever it is, but he's out. He's out because the fasiq cannot be getting power first, nor can he persist even in power, committing a clear, well-established fisq, like administering had. Ibn Hazm made an error. So if he allow people to administer the had and punish him, then he is an imam as he was before. But he's mistaken because in between he became fasiq. Ibn Hazm does not adopt the theory that fasiq is not worthy of being imam. That's the problem. That's what. But because he missed a hadith about that and missed also the ayah of the Quran, Ahdi al-Zalimin and so on, etc. People missed many things there. But if you establish that, and this is a very good restraint. So the moment you are in such a public position, then you have to respect the position. Not you have to behave. You have to walk on eggs. I can walk on the street and slander someone and get back punished maybe and so on. But the president should be, and the head of state should abstain from that. Otherwise, he will like Umar. But Umar never transgressed the limit of fisq and worthy. But sometimes he beat someone by mistake in a hurry, and then he gives him the durra, say, beat me up as a compensation. So he knows that he crossed the limit, but that was not enough to say that he left the frame of being an acceptable ruler. Yeah.
Yes.
So the philosophy of the state and is completely different. That's what the fault there. Besides, the society is obviously secular and capitalistic. Then the people have money will ultimately play the game and take over. Especially if it's a capitalism of usurious type, which is the West type, which is since 300-400 years now, usury is the standard in all the Western world. Money will accumulate in certain families and so on, like the Rothschild and others. Ultimately, the state authority will be hostage by them, by debts, by etc. We will see.
Yeah.
And they will be really very ruling power. All they need is just to cover up nicely, like Epstein stories, and as long until they expose. And then you can do every evil thing. Now they are in a dilemma there. They don't know what's the limit of immunity, non-immunity, what to do, what not to do, and so on. So this is the fault of the philosophy itself of the state and the philosophy of the society. The fault of the written constitution as a structure.
I see.
But also it has internal faults also.
Yeah, of course, yes.
Definitely. No, sorry. Even if we write an Islamic constitution derived from Quran and Sunnah as much as we can, we will do like in a faqih, we may have some. There will be certain procedures there put. But that's the reason I say we have to read all constitutions and see what procedures have worked very well. Procedures, not fundamental principles actually, but which procedures can work very well.
Professor, I'm suggesting that inshallah we have to do it, at least to sit together, to read them, to analyze them, and this will open the door to further develop them for inshallah the coming draft, the constitutional draft of Tajdeed.
Inshallah, but let's finish the basic things. Like, for example, the reason I did not, you remember you said, so 20 years the book about the authority of the Ummah will come, because
that's the one I'm referring to.
There's so many sub problems there that everyone is handled, like obedience to rule, its limitation, accountability, all of that, allegiance, all of that. If that all has to be settled and cleaned as much, and it was developing over 20 years. Now we are slowly getting there, so that maybe everything was summarized in the authority of the Ummah. But for that, for example, the book of Muawiyah and what happened with Uthman and Ali and the revolutionary, all of that. That's the reason.
Okay. So it's dependent on another work. Okay, I got it.
Many other works. They to be completed first. The first fundamental one is also Tawheed and Hakimiyya.
Yes.
But then
that is inshallah almost done, inshallah, by Shabab.
yeah.
Inshallah, yes.
Even this has to be reviewed more and giving another polish. But this is what they have now. That's good. And then we have next edition. Then we will be having the help of AI for translation, inshallah. No problem.
Excellent. Okay, I totally understand.
Let's work positively in that direction,
Okay.
step by step, one by one. You cannot get things which need 20 years in 20 days. It's not.
We're trying to raise the time, ya Sheikh, to get the maximum.
Raising the time will get you in trouble. You do it at the time is needed, but the problem is that there was, until recently, there was not very much help from anybody. Very little participation. Only recently, we have someone like the brother who have this sujood for women.
Yes, he's present, mashallah. Yes.
That's in the last few years. Before that, there was nothing. Everyone is dead. But now we're getting there, inshallah. So let's work on it one by one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So I will end with this one, inshallah. I will do a recording of all narrations of sujood, the woman to her husband, and I will ask AI to make like a written copy. And inshallah, this written copy, I will ask him to make it like a book edition. I will read it on you, inshallah, and you can correct.
No. That one, but I think we have people working about Tawheed. They read to me, and we go in Shamila, go again to a book in the world, and then and review what we have done in the past and improve it. This also, yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I will read the written stuff on you, inshallah. And
just start. Just start. Then things will work. If we don't start, we'll be just I will not do this tomorrow, one day after tomorrow, and so on.
I'm starting. As I told you, I have gone through all the.
Just do. Proceed. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Done. Inshallah. Okay. Jazakallah khair. And I apologize. Yesterday I haven't slept, so my English is sluggish today. I don't even understand myself today.
Khair, inshallah.
Okay. Jazakallah khair. Barakallah feek. Barakallah.
Khair, always welcome. Anyone else wants to say anything far away?
Assalamu alaikum. I've got two questions. First one is, I don't know how much you've touched on this, but for civil disobedience, where in the Islamic system, the ruler rules by his own rules, or he does something where the people can rightfully not comply with the rules, what is the system of escalation? That's the first question.
You can abstain. If you really this command is legitimate, you should disobey it. You cannot apply. And then this will be a dispute at the court. Another thing, if the general behavior bad or wrong or something like that, then you can go to the scales, like for example, strike, abstaining from work, general resignation, general strike, etc., and then demonstration and movements and so on, until it gets to, like in the case of Uthman, at the end, the people marched toward Medina and argued with him. And ultimately, at the end, he recognized his errors and started correcting, and then Muawiyah completed his killing. That's it. That's what has happened. Just read the Hurriya al-Tufan to see what has happened later time.
Hurriya al-Tufan.
With good isnats, not a horror story of Saif ibn Umar and Ibn Saba. And this is all fabrication. Never happened. What happened is with isnats of good isnats in Tabari, the details, and this summarized in Hurriya al-Tufan of Hakim al-Mutayri. So that's all available. So, and the state cannot prevent that or prohibit it. What he prohibited, he crossed the limit of red line of Kufr Buah. He's prohibiting the people from commanding good and forbidding evil with the legitimate restrictions. The legitimate restriction is only pulling a sword when the Kufr Buah is well established, and that's usually after a court decision, or he refused to go to the court. Then this is Kufr Buah. We write that, inshallah, in details. No problem with that. We write in details. Already in Muhasabah al-Hukam, there's some things like that. But the stages before using force and going to the court, these stages are all open, like in the West, and more, even more in the Islamic system. But this is gone after Muawiyah rebellion and so on, and destroying all what has been achieved in the time of Khalifa al-Rashidin, and the Hassan surrendering Khilafah in a catastrophic way. After that, you have never seen anything of that happening. Nothing.
Yeah, that was going to be my second question. Was there any case of it after Uthman radiallahu anhu? But yeah, that didn't happen. Yeah,
Yeah. Umar ibn Abdulaziz was once going to the masjid with him, one of the guards, and then he stumbled on someone who was fishing there with his leg or something. It was just dark. And the man woke up, so addressing Umar, recognizing him or not recognizing Umar ibn Abdulaziz. Are you crazy? So the guard wanted to hit him. That's what he used previously. They hit anyone talking to the Khalifa or in him. And Umar stopped him and said, what you are doing? See, he said that. He said, are you crazy? I answered him, no, I'm not crazy. I just stumbled on you. So things degenerated to that level.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, but that's the reason we have to clean the mess. It's not an easy job. Okay. Right.
Yeah, that was just my question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further, or should we conclude for today?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam alaikum.
Should we understood the hadith of من أتاكم وأمركم جميعا على رجل يريد أن يشق عصاكم ويفرق جماعتكم فاقتلوه.
That's,
And
that,
what
that
are
should,
the limits?
they should have been done that to Muawiyah, but they didn't do. They failed to comply, probably. Yeah.
But some jihadists like Al-Shabaab, they are using this hadith of discussing in the previous radio when they kill Sur al-Amriki and others.
We see what they discuss exactly. The mistake, but hadith is clear. ما أتاكم وأمركم جميع رجل واحد بايعتوه. They have given bay'ah and so on. And they are unified with him, and he's illegitimately and so on. And he want to split you and use up power. تضربوه بالسيف كائنا ما كان. Don't allow that to happen. Because this one who comes to split the community, if he has a valid reason, he will come and start with the legal dispute, like Ali told Muawiyah, you claim people killed Uthman and so on, come and bring your witnesses and your accusation. And we have a court here. He refused. He said, no, give me the people who killed Uthman. This is not acceptable.
Yes, Ali radiallahu anhu.
Give them to me. He should not. He could say, you are accused. Say, okay, let's sit in court and bring your accusation and your evidences, and I'll bring my evidences. Muawiyah knows that. Muawiyah is the one who killed. So use that just to cover. And many people were so simple-minded that they follow, especially in Sham. That's the one who should have experienced by the sword. Unfortunately, people were wavering and confused because he's a master deceiver. That's it.
Yes, but Ali was Khalifa, but some groups of hadith right now are killing each other.
They say what?
Ali, he was Khalifa.
Yeah. Bay'ah was valid in Medina, everything finished. Bay'ah is finished.
Yes, yes.
And was sent for everywhere. Now, Muawiyah claimed, give me the killers of Uthman. He claims, that's what he claims. Question,
Yes.
come, I say, okay, you have a
Yes.
right. I'm next of kin.
Yes.
Even he's lying. There are more next of kin than Muawiyah. But this Muawiyah is the one who can ask for blood. Okay, come to the court. Bring your evidences. Someone could say Muawiyah says accusing Ali of killing him. Okay, come accuse me in front of the court. Let us sit in court like Umar before that. Someone accused him of doing something wrong, and they went to court. You know the famous story of the horse. Umar was testing a horse, and he ran with it very harsh, and it broke his leg. So he returned back. And the seller said, I gave it to you to test him, not to break his leg. And Umar said, but your horse is good for nothing. He said, there's not a good excuse that you damaged the horse. I need compensation. Some solution must be. So then let's choose someone to arbitrate. He said, let's go to Sharif. That's the first time Umar knew Sharif. So they went to Sharif. And Sharif said, hear both sides and say, Amir Mu'mineen, you took a horse which is whole, healthy, good, and so on. You drove it harshly or something, it's broken his leg. You have to retain what you have taken as it is, or take it and you are responsible for the breaking leg. Umar said, walk up. This is the real judgment, and he surrendered, took the horse, or gave the man money, compensation, and sent Shureh and said, Shureh, you go to Kufa as a judge. Khalifa cannot deny going to a court if somebody is disputing him about a horse, let alone about the blood of Uthman and so on. So that's it. That's where the hadith applies. Who always said the hadith applied? How they apply it? To what? Give me an example to see if they're applying it correctly or not correctly.
Like Al-Shabaab, some jihadists, they use this hadith to kill the member who are argumenting their Amir.
No, they cannot. That's not. No. Are the one argumenting wanted to remove the Amir and take power? Or split the group?
Exactly. Yes.
Using force?
No, they are just saying you are not the legitimate leader.
No, then he's not coming to split the community by force. So what the hadith says, read the hadith to them. Tell them, read it. They say, they maybe you are Somali, we are not Arab. So read it to some Arab who explain to you. ما نتاكم أمركم جميعا على رجل يعني with a bay'ah and so on, etc. يريد أن يفرق شملكم ويشق عصاكم. That cannot be done just by words. He put this way. He is disputing with the leader, then they have to have a court. If they don't have a court, then they are also not ruling with what Allah has revealed. They are not referring to the ayah properly. Then this one declare him to be illegitimate. If someone come with a sword, then nothing good. If you come with a sword, we face you with a sword. We have to exterminate you. But if he comes say, I'm disputing this point and so on, I'm arguing about this point, let's have tahqeen. The leader has to accept that and sit with them. That's how it works. Taking all evidences together. It's not a matter of desire. But as usually, the one in charge use that against any opposition to make themselves above the law. That's it. And that's not acceptable. Nobody is above Allah, especially about Allah's law. Also, Allah's law must be supreme. Everyone must be below that. Completely submissive. Completely submissive. So the argument is faulty. If then was coming with sword, with the arms, then it's clearly he's a fighting, he's a khariji. But if he's coming with a valid reason, without sword, say, I'm not accepting this because of this and this and this, okay, we have to have tahqeen. We just discussed it a few seconds ago. But these people, their level of understanding is quite poor. All the Shabab are much better than others, like Daesh and things like that. But their level of understanding is quite poor, unfortunately. Very poor. Very poor. And they tend to because they are indulged in fighting against even the local authority, which is almost certainly illegitimate and so on, they are just becoming just like a fighting group, really. They are not really like an authority, a legitimate authority. You cannot say that people are on giving them bay'ah properly and all of these things. It's just a jama'ah. But still, if you regard you the only jama'ah which is legitimate in Somali, then you should apply. It has to be done this way. Okay, so it's a matter of really applying things properly, but we know that general Muslim public and also scholarship are very low level in intellectual development, and for 1400 years, nothing in that direction was developed. Just general things. If you go to the book, the chapter about Imama and fighting Ahl al-Baghi, you find some things taken, for example, from Ali ibn Abi Talib and his fights and so on. A bit, but most of it is theoretical. It's nowhere applied by any ruler through history, except very rarely. Very, very rarely. Yeah, that's a problem. So there was not enough time to develop the ways and means and procedure and get established things and so on. Islamic State was developing nicely. More procedures and administrative tools were developed at the time of Bakr and then Umar and then some Uthman. Then the fitna started because of weaknesses and shortcomings of Uthman. And the people demonstrated and did right things, and ultimately they sat ultimately, as I said, read Al-Hurriya of Tufan, read this. the chapter about the dispute of Uthman and so on, with the good isnads, not the rubbish of Ibn Saba and this, which that never existed. And then you see what has happened. Ultimately, Uthman acknowledged. They discussed with him ayah for ayah, issue for issue. Like, for example, you would reserve the certain area for grazing of the sadaqah. Said this is needed because Umar did it before that. We needed a place for the camels of sadaqah, because they take the camels, they can take sadaqah from camels, they take camels. From sheep, they take sheep. They don't take money. And this must be fed, must be maintained until they are sold and made liquid in gold and silver and things like that. And there is a need for that. And the reason is that, and they say, yeah, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. And few things he admitted he's mistaken and say it was corrected. Yeah, that's just the discussion all there with isnad, several isnad on the level of Bukhari and Muslim there. Check. That's the way to go. They never came with the sword. The issue with the sword came very much later when Muawiyah, obviously usurping the ring of Uthman and made the fake letter, and the fake letter was carried with Abu al-A'war al-Sulami. That's the one who the messenger who was carrying a letter. Most narrations do not mention the name of the messenger, because if they mention it, but Ishaq mentioned it in one of his narration. It was Abu al-A'war al-Sulami. Then you know immediately who is Abu al-A'war al-Sulami. Well, Salmi is an agent and tail of Muawiyah. Khalas, very clear who is behind the whole thing. And who could have falsified the seal, etc. Yeah. Yeah.
Jazakallah khair. Just last question, Sheikh. Can an Amir impose as ta'zir?
What ta'zir? For what? Is it structured? What is it? What is it? Yeah, he can. If it's something worthy of ta'zir, worthy of punishment, according to Islamic principles, yes. But which mentioned cases, there's that points ta'zir, in principle, yes. Ta'zir is the state can punish. Now, how to enact ta'zir, make a law or make it just case to case and so on, that may be left to judges, may be left to shura, who put who does this and this will be having ta'zir, this amount of penalty or this number of days of imprisonment and things like that. And this has to be also studied much more thoroughly than have been in the past. But ta'zir will never get to the level of more than 10 lashes, or not even killing or cutting parts of the body. That's impossible. And you find some Maliki scholar claiming the Imam is entitled to kill 1/3 of the people to save the 2/3. It's almost a statement of kufr, they guys. And they think there's fiqh, great fiqh, to save. Who put you in place to save 2/3 or 1/3 of the people? No, that's Allah. There's not going to be the authority or anybody authority to kill someone to save someone else. There is clearly description when to kill, when not to kill, with which condition. That's it. We cannot get out of that. But he says more details of things. Anyway, you cannot invoke Shabab or even Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan in these things, because Al-Qaeda was much relatively better, but unfortunately they were busy up to their ears in fighting. And they could not really cross over the border. Although really Zawahiri and Bin Laden were really much more advanced than the foot soldiers, but they couldn't. The conditions were not much better in that direction. Allahu Alam. And that's my best guess, because I have interaction with them. I know what was behind the scene. Although I advised earlier that you should not let that go. Even if some of these Shabab do not like what you educate them, just let them leave. Because you don't need to have a big army which is heterogeneous and not focused on the same principles. A smaller army which is focused is much better. كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة. Okay, anyway, this is more in details of events now and so on, and this needs lengthy discussion about the conditions and things like that.
Okay, inshallah, let's call it a day.
Yeah.
Wednesday, 8:30, inshallah, with recording, yeah, Doc?
فهيم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نستغفرك ونتوب اليك. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وآل ابراهيم في العالمين انك حميد مجيد، وبارك على محمد وآل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. تصبحون على خير، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.